had an early head start, but it looks like Cult 1 will do Cult, and it's shorter anyway, so this will be a good taste of the channel anyway.
It goes without saying,
Thanks to the Prime
cults are
Smooth.
infamous for a very good reason. They are known to indoctrinate people, manipulate them,
Mm-hmm.
and use them as a collective for the goals of an individual cult leader or a harmful belief system. In many cases, they target individuals that are very
Thanks to the 5 gift subs,
vulnerable because
Gaming
they're
Legacy.
generally more
Gift
likely
sub
to
Nuke
look
and
for
Ghostly.
leadership. Desperate people tend to look for desperate answers and tend to not use their better judgment. Take, for instance, the story of the miracle mineral supplement that claimed to cure just about anything.
Hey,
from
I remember
Alzheimer's to
that.
Autism. And as it would turn out, not only did it not cure any disease, did not help any disease, but also contained bleach. Cults thrive when followers of an individual collective prescribe themselves to blind misinformation.
Oh, here, hold on.
With all
Sorry.
of that being said, today we're going to dive back into retracing the digital footsteps of one such cult. This is the story of the now defunct Reddit cult of Cantelmoism.
I've been on Reddit since day one, going from Dig to Reddit, and I've never heard of
My encounter with this bizarre
Cantelmoism.
topic first started
the
when I was looking
fuck?
for more internet mysteries to do videos on, and I was on another popular subreddit called the Reddit Bureau of Investigation, and I found a post that read the following:
Thanks to
super
Prime
unusual
Soul.
subreddit where every
Give
post
sub
is
Roberto.
gilded an absurd amount of times. Here is ISS Gold, the subreddit in question. I'm pretty positive they're all bots, but why circle jerk thousands of dollars into gilding onto these posts for no reason at all? There has to be
So
some
they're a
reason
Reddit
why.
gold
At the time
cult?
I had first checked out this
That's
subreddit,
cute.
it was still up, but as of now has been made private. In a nutshell, there were
Thanks
countless
to Tier
posts
1
in this
Elite.
tiny subreddit that contained a vast amount of Reddit gold and silver. At first, it appeared like some sort of test subreddit, something very similar to the YouTube channel WebDriver Torso. While I couldn't
Thanks
find
to
any
some
proof this was a test
Cravio and
subreddit,
Yeet
what I did
Yang.
find out from a
Soulless.
comment was what led me to this topic. A user had commented that this could have a possible connection to r/Cantelmoism, which dropped me right into one of the most interesting
I
stories
like the name.
I've ever come across on Reddit. Trying to access
Sounds like some old Middle Earth shit.
r/Cantelmoism, you'll notice that the entire community has been banned. What's interesting here is that Reddit actually took notice of this community and banned it altogether. Keep in
These are
mind
five
there's
new
an
subs. Collage.
r/Scientology subreddit
Or
that is
collagen,
wide
excuse
open.
me.
So what was
Thank
so
you,
bad
collagen.
about this one that Reddit had to take action? I will note the reason for this subreddit being banned is listed as for being unmoderated, but I highly doubt that, as you'll soon learn more details. If you trace this entire situation back, this all starts with a Reddit user by the name of Chris CGC, whose real name is Chris Cantelmo, who became notorious
Hey!
on Reddit for giving away upwards of $70,000
Goddamn,
in
thank you,
Reddit
Tier 1
badges,
Craig and the
which was
5 gift subs
calculated
again,
by his own
Phantom.
mods
Thank you,
on
Phantom.
his own subreddit. If you look into this guy's background, you'll learn that he owns a medical company called GL Sciences, as well as a few other companies in the past.
Very
for which he
successful
made quite a
Redditor.
bit of money. Just to make sure,
He
if
must
you're
use
unfamiliar with Reddit
r/finance.
badges, they're used as gifts from one Reddit user to another and are displayed on posts. They are usually given out as a good job award for being particularly funny or helpful. Reddit Silver is the cheapest Reddit badge you can put on a post. The next tier
Embarrassing.
is Reddit Gold,
It's
which gives
garbage.
you 1 week of Reddit Premium.
Yeah.
Lastly, there is Reddit Platinum, which provides 1 month of Reddit Premium. If you're unfamiliar with Reddit Premium,
Thanks, Yusuf
essentially it is
Aftershock,
just a
Yusuf
membership that
Dago,
unlocks a
Yusuf
variety of features
Anarchitect.
with Reddit, including the option to turn off ads.
Prime
Moving
Loan.
back to Chris CGC, he became well known, as I said, for randomly gilding posts on the r teenagers and r/dank memes subreddit. Keep in mind, this guy clearly targeted a younger demographic by going for those subreddits. For example, in this individual post, it would cost about $350, which features 69 platinum badges and
Oh, he's an epic
69 months of
memer.
Reddit
Big
Premium for the
man.
user who posted this. This was
Imagine
common
fucking
behavior
CEO
for
being a
Chris, as he
memer.
would basically be handing out money every single
Okay, that's
day.
Elon Musk,
In
actually.
fact,
Never
this was
mind.
even so common that they created an entire subreddit called Children of Chris, dedicated to people who were gifted gold by him. At first glance,
Thanks
this
for 5
seems
gift subs,
entirely
All-American. Good to see you,
harmless.
man.
This guy was being generous with a lot of
Appreciate
money and was reported to be spending thousands of dollars a day on gilded Reddit posts. As you can imagine, many people didn't have a problem
Thanks
with
to
getting free
Rich.
Reddit Premium memberships, and it got to a point where people would just pass this guy's name around and say, "Message Chris, he'll send you gold." As I said, at first it
I'm
seemed
surprised I've
rather
never heard of this.
benign. It seemed like this guy simply had a bunch of money to go around and was willing to pull stunts for the sake of entertainment. But as time would go on, he would reveal the actual motive behind these gilding sprees. As a result of this guy gilding almost any post that was in his way, many people were curious about the man behind the gildings. A lot of people looked up to him because he was very generous. However, in an interview done by Insider Meme Trading after he gained some attention, he was
Insider
questioned about his
Meme
motive regarding the
Trading.
mass gilding sprees, to which he responds saying He wanted to get the message
Actually,
out
cool name,
that
not gonna lie.
DMT cured cancer. In case you're unfamiliar, DMT is an incredibly powerful
Holy shit.
hallucinogen. DMT, or dimethyltryptamine, has been studied in the field of cancer. However, there is no consistent peer-reviewed evidence that would suggest this in any way. And let's be real here.
God, what is it?
If a
What is
cure
it?
for cancer was found, do you think a guy would have to do a publicity stunt on
Do they
Reddit,
also use
spending
that for joint
thousands of
pain?
dollars to get the word out? In the months to
Give
come.
me 1 second. Hold on. Sorry to pause, but I need to look that up. DMT. They also use that for joint pain, don't they? Let me see. No, this isn't what I was thinking of. I remember a couple years back, I knew a guy that was peddling hard for some, like, really pseudoscience-y liquid jar-ish shit. Like, it looked like what the xenomorphs were born out of. And it was dimethyl something. I remember that, which is why it started to, like, fucking Winter Soldier me there for a minute. And he was like, this'll work, this'll cure your joint pain, inflammation, might make you taller, it's gonna make your beard more full. DXM? Maybe. Thanks for the hey socks. Good to see you, man. Thanks for the 5 gift subs, socks and lich. Jesus, give you the generosity tonight.
He
God
still
damn.
found some notoriety and started
Sounds
to
like
gain a following
HGH.
as a result of his generosity.
No.
Something I want to note here: many of these followers were not in it for the sake of his teachings. However, they were a byproduct of being around him. Nonetheless, a portion of people stuck around and did listen to what this guy had to say. And
Thanks
there
to
are
Prime
former
Jordy.
believers of
Triakis,
Cantelmoism.
Robotits,
And as
Gift
time
Sub
went
Fairy.
on, and through the
Resub
help
Mist.
of Cantelmoism exposed, a subreddit we will get to, many people started to outline the potential symptoms of a forming cult. As I said earlier, looking back on this situation is
I
incredibly
highly doubt it's like a
difficult,
r
as all
cult.
the original threads surrounding
Probably just
the
an
r//Cantelmoism
updoots to the left. Thanks for the
subreddit
gold,
have
stranger.
been deleted. Not to mention, Chris CGC himself was also banned from Reddit. In fact, Chris has been banned more than once. People collectively created a comprehensive list of alternate accounts that Chris was creating, and most
Thanks
of
to
them
Prime
are banned.
Jack.
What
Jock.
remains is a
Resub
subreddit
T-Bone.
called Cantelmoism Exposed, in which we get a full understanding of the situation. The sidebar of this individual subreddit
Thanks to
reads
Prime
the
Game Boy.
following. Cantelmoism is a cult of personalities centered around Chris Cantelmo, who came to prominence on Reddit through his mass gilding sprees. The cult espouses a form of psychedelic New Age pseudoscience, ranging from innocuous beliefs to dangerous self-harm.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay.
targeting members of r/teenagers for recruitment. We are here to aggregate information about Cantelmoism and help people make informed
Thanks,
decisions
Resub
to
Mad
avoid
Dog.
further recruitment. Among the pinned threads in the subreddit, we find one called Outline of Initial Concerns with Cantelmoism. Here we
Thanks,
learn
Resub
quite a
Bizarro.
bit about this whole fiasco. The thread reads the following. I'm interested in whether or not any true cults have ever emerged on Reddit. I've been following Chris CGC and his sub Cantelmoism. I started
no
out
fap.
participating for the awards. I had 5 years of premium after a few days of participation, but once I had more than enough gold, I continued to participate out of interest for what is the strangest, most cult-like sub I've ever seen. Today, it is starting to get more renewed interest by the Reddit community. As a leader, Chris CGC has been suspended by
Thanks
Reddit
to
for
Resub
3
Sleeps
days,
and Nathan.
and it was mentioned in a popular and just deleted Ask Reddit thread described as a really weird cult-like subreddit run by a guy who gilds literally all the posters. He talks about how he has terminal brain cancer and that he's cured it with DMT, and believes DMT can cure literally everything, and the users seem to agree for some reason. My personal take is that he's a schizophrenic, but I have no proof.
Or
Without
just a
going into too
scam
much
artist. What do you
depth,
mean?
Here's a few ways in which it seems like a cult. Mind-altering practices such as meditation, chanting,
Thanks to
speaking in
Resub
tongues,
Pablo and Tier 1
renunciation
Sesh.
sessions, and debilitating
Resub
work
Y2K.
routines are used in excess. Perhaps the main tenet of the whole cult is that DMT is a perfect and godly substance with no bad effects that everybody should be using, and that it cures cancer and AIDS. In
Wow.
fact, he has gone as far as saying that radiation and chemotherapy are torture and make patients worse, not better, which is extremely dangerous advice to people who have cancer. He has also urged his
Damn, did
followers
Chris
to
talk
stare
to Steve
directly
Jobs
into
or
the sun
something?
every day,
Is he
saying that
responsible
we've
for
been
that?
tricked into fearing the sun to make us dumber. The leadership induces feelings of shame and or guilt in order to influence and or control members. Often this is done through peer pressure and subtle forms of persuasion. This is a textbook and egregious example, especially when it turned out that the user YanZZ didn't actually do anything wrong and the cult members refused to accept it. The group is elitist, claiming a special, exalted status for itself, its leaders, And members, for
What?
example, the leader is considered the Messiah, a special being, an avatar.
No fucking way. All
Lord,
because he was
sent
gifting
special
Reddit
mission to
gold?
save humanity.
That's like
Here's
just
how he
spitting in your
described
face
himself
and
to
then
the
wiping it
government while
off.
he was
Reddit gold is
proselyting for his
useless.
sub. The leader, Chris CBC,
Truly
is
useless.
constantly referred to as God. He believes that he has special
Hold
knowledge.
on, I need to look at it. What does Reddit gold do? Doesn't it just grant you access to the Reddit gold lounge? Like, who cares? So you hang out with some pretentious douchebags? Like, does it do anything else? Let's see. What is Reddit gold? Rewarded the post. What can you do with it? Here we go. So you get a week of Reddit Premium and 100 coins you can use to give someone silver. Is there ads on Reddit? I can't say I've perused the internet without an ad block in years. Is that like a big draw? Like you don't get ads? For a week? Oh, okay. It seems like an awfully large thing to say that the guy who gives you Reddit gold is the Messiah. Jesus. Thanks to the Prime Poison. Thanks to the Resubble
knowledge
Kami.
of the spirit world and wants to use the knowledge for the express goal of world peace. The group is also preoccupied with bringing in new members. Monetary rewards are gifted with participating in the sub. The group is preoccupied with money. He spends thousands of dollars a day gilding members with Reddit money, and he also is increasingly paying members real money and offering to pay for their plane rides to
That's a
visit
great
him.
deal. Wait, he's just
In
giving
total,
away money?
He spent over $100,000 recruiting followers with a main focus on
Yeah, just fucking
teenagers.
pretend to call him the
And
Messiah.
here are
Who
a few
cares?
examples
Free
of
cash
some
from a
of the
weirdo.
outrageous things he has said, but I think that thankfully most of these are not taken completely seriously by his followers. His most devoted followers definitely still believe him though.
AC
It
Tier 1
seems like
just
Reddit
did
is
stuff.
starting to
Prime.
catch on and get worried, as
No
his
7
account was
and
just
Resub Otis.
suspended for 3 days for telling people to call me or visit me to experience DMT as anti-cancer treatment. He encourages schizophrenia and believes that it's caused by excess DMT and that hallucinations are completely real. As the poster of this thread starts to update it, he goes into one of the podcast episodes that have now been deleted. Edit 3. I just listened to Chris' most recent podcast episode, and I can finally understand what people see in him as a leader and why his followers seem to love him. I'm almost convinced that he's an amazing and insane human being. Either that makes him less threatening because he's not the type of person to start a dangerous cult, or more threatening because he is the type of person that could convince enough people to pull it off. The first half is just a normal conversation, which establishes trust in him before he transitioned to the crazier second half. We learn how Chris befriends the homeless and lets them come into his house whenever they want to.
That's kind of nice, though.
He wishes he had enough space to let thousands of them sleep in his backyard.
What?
He does have over an acre.
Maybe this guy is the Messiah.
Enough to start a commune/cult on a smaller scale. Then, in the second half, he starts talking about DMT, albeit in a far less insane
That monkey
way
in the Prime King
does.
Joe.
He then makes some apocalyptic prophecies that he previously talked about on Reddit. He talks about things such as a recession worse than the Great Depression being imminent and World War III between US, Iran, and Israel being imminent as well. However, he does say that those two things will actually be good for everyone except the rich. Next, he tells us what his ideal society looks like. He wants something beyond communism, where money is made illegal. It's not too big of a stretch to say that he might consider implementing such a society on a smaller scale.
Money
if
is
he gains
illegal.
enough devoted followers. Lastly, he talks about suicide. At first, he said he thinks the people who commit suicide go to a better place and are better off.
Holy shit.
This is obviously a very scary idea when you look at how common mass
suicide
suicide is in cults. He seems to be aware of this as he quickly changes his tune to say that he really thinks that people who commit suicide have to start their life all over again, which would be boring. Overall, there are some Jonestown vibes, but mostly he just seems like an extremely moral, charitable, and crazy person. His followers fall in love with him for his morality and charity,
up for me, Kaiser.
missing
Well,
out
thank you
on the
then if you
crazy
did, man.
side, and that's where I think the danger lies. Alright, now, as I said previously, many of the links are dead. However, going over to his website, we can in fact see many of the claims and the beliefs held by this guy, and they still stand in the discovery section of the website. While it might be insane to think that many people even remotely entertain this guy, He made examples out of a few of his devoted followers. And even
Jonestown
paid
is
for
one of
their
the most
college,
wild
in some
stories,
cases
yeah.
up to $15,000.
Whoa.
As a result, many people sucked up to him in hopes of financial gain. But at the time, Reddit turned a blind eye as they were getting paid through the nose by this guy. I personally believe, as well as many other people, that most of his so-called followers were just in it for the sake of
crazy
money.
in the resub
And when there
yish.
stopped being handouts on a daily basis, almost all of his followers started to turn on him for not providing evidence of his claims. At first, some people were willing to be patient since Chris had never provided any proof towards his claims regarding DMT. He came from a scientific background and would constantly post about his upcoming research being published. However, that obviously
Wait,
never
is this
happened.
Chris? This guy doesn't look like a dank memer at all. Looks like Tom Hanks in character. I thought it was gonna be a young guy. Cult leader my ass, Grandpa.
At another point
Ew.
in time, one of Cantelmoism's main
Give me
followers
back that
got a
Reddit
restraining order
gold.
from Chris, which led to him getting doxxed. This led to death threats for leaving the group, and ultimately this situation was starting to spiral. Later on, death threats would flood into basically anyone critiquing the group. However, many people noticed that in many cases, it was just Chris on an alternate account. In an effort to keep some of his followers on the hook without any financial incentives, Chris became desperate and would make alt accounts pretending to be news outlets, stating that they were working on a story about his research. However, obviously people saw right through this. Up to this point, even the most devoted followers started to not be able to turn a blind eye towards his childish behavior. In many situations, he resorted to name-calling like a 5-year-old, and in other cases, he even told a person with cancer that he was an idiot. As a result, his own subreddit turned against him. It read the following: "This is a place for a very mentally ill man named Chris Cantelmo to post his craziness. Please get this man help and don't support him. He has no money left, no family left, and nothing good in his life."
Damn, Chris, fucking blasted on your own dank
meme. Where around a month ago, this Reddit community as a whole has been banned. I can only imagine because Reddit wasn't getting paid off nearly as much. While Chris still remains online on his other platforms, he's still trying to recruit members in person, but his digital footprint still remains.
I want to check out
Even
that
his
channel.
own Discord turned against him, and one of his top followers has now taken over. From an outsider like myself, looking at this entire situation, in my opinion, I definitely see how this seems quite premeditated. I can see the angle a lot of people have mentioned regarding this guy being mentally ill as well. However, it seems like from the very beginning, this was calculated towards creating a cult. This guy comes from an educated background. He graduated from Yale. He set up a website. He targeted impressionable people, and he used one little sliver of attention and was vindictive towards anyone who didn't agree with his beliefs. Thankfully, however, the situation.
Hey, thanks for the 10 new subs again, Cyaxis. Good to see you tonight.
Something else I should note is that I also believe, to a certain extent, Chris has been experiencing a degree of psychosis. I don't believe this guy to be mentally stable due to the constant drug use. Here we had a guy with a great livelihood and a good life, and he was well off. Then, seemingly out of nowhere in the later years of his life, after being an atheist for 56 years, he becomes ultra-spiritual as a result of taking DMT. And
he just wanted to start a cult, man. He just did it the wrong way.
As a god, and all of his teachings
he should have started playing Minecraft.
And psychosis. That being said, I don't think talking shit directly to this guy helps whatsoever. As a result, anyone watching this video, don't go harass this guy. His brain obviously processes information differently, and even though what he attempted to do was terrible, it won't stop him from continuing.
Really appreciate it, Cyaxis. Thank you for the generosity.
This guy needs professional help. Instead, this video stands as something much more effective in this situation than directly talking shit to him. At this point, if anyone comes across this rabbit hole or topic on the internet, they have a reference point to which they can understand how this group came to being and avoid it. With that being said, I thank you for joining me here today as we looked at
that was actually kind of interesting.
I've ever seen on Reddit. This is Barely Sociable. Have a great night.
Is that true? Only one guy said this, but now I have to know. Did Chris Cantelmo actually kill himself because this video? I'm gonna look it up. I feel like I'm being lied to, but that would be horrible. Let's see. Oh my god. Wait, that's real. That's fucking awful. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that guy wasn't lying. Wow. Well, that was a ride. Holy shit.
I'm built differently. I'm built differently. I'm built differently. I'm built differently.
Like, Reddit's darkest corners. Let's ride.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I have a lot of announcements, so I'm gonna try to make this very quick.
Thanks for
The first
resub,
announcement
Carney
is
in blood.
600,000 subscribers. The last video,
This channel's popping off.
500,000. As of filming this video, we're at 622,000 subscribers, and honestly, thank you guys. Thank you to all the newcomers that are coming from Critical's channel. First of all, Charlie, thank you so much. I know I told you thank you in DMs, and by the way, guys, the fact that I spoke to
He's
Critical,
such a
like,
sweetheart.
literally a dream come true. I
Unironically,
sound like
he's
a
such a
broken
sweetheart.
record, but I feel like I'm saying something I would like to repeat. So thank you to all the newcomers. Also, there was no like cinematic intro for this video because the channel intro editor known as Charge is actually he's actually editing the music video that's gonna be out soon. That's right. Cherry Soda.
He seems like a nice guy. He is.
Single, which I'm sure all of you guys are gonna like, even if you don't listen to Hyperpop. I'm sure you're all gonna like it. That's how confident I am. We do not have an official release date, but the video will premiere here on my channel live. Yes, I'll be in the chat. I'm literally gonna ping everyone on Discord and
fuck, man, that horse is really like hurt my head.
So it's gonna be a live event. I'm thinking 6 p.m. PST. So convert that over to whatever your time zone you're in. But seriously, it's gonna come.
We've
on
seen
February
Carl
for
H.
Sure. So
Yeah.
just keep your eyes open on that.
We
It might
saw
be
that
on
one.
the channel already, just like for the countdown thing. Hey guys, I want to let you guys know that I actually did an interview with Mocknix, and it's so extremely
Thanks, Resub
funny.
Granny.
I love this interview, and it's my first interview ever. So if you guys want to get to know me, make sure to check it out in the link in the description. And here's a little preview of what the interview looks like.
Tough.
It reminds me of Comedy Night.
Subscribers. That's
Guys, Mocknix is pushing P.
Turn off that fucking sign.
All girls hit me up. Hit me the
Get this man a collab with 100 Gex. Do they still make music?
You could be right there.
100
So,
Gex is Piss
Reddit's
Baby,
darkest
right?
Corners. In this video, we will be covering specific subreddits and users that can be described as strange, disturbing, odd. And I know what you guys are thinking. Dude, all of Reddit is like disgusting. What are you talking about? I know it is. I know it is. But let's just go even deeper than the surface. This video will be a little
You don't
deeper,
wanna
but I
go
asked you
deeper
guys
than the
over my
surface on
community tab
Reddit.
to help me out on certain topics. I want to give a big shout out to Juno over on the Tub Discord for
Thanks, Resub
helping
Granny
me out
and
with this idea.
Hero.
Juno gave me the idea. That's what I'm trying to say. If you guys have video ideas that you want me to cover, make sure to go leave it in the video ideas channel over on the Discord. I'm not gonna lie, literally like 9 out of 10 of them are horrible. I go on that channel. Dude, I remember someone requested me to talk about Harry Styles. Like, what do you want me to say? The dark side of Harry Styles. Like, no.
Harry
no.
Styles has
So,
probably got
okay,
some
here's my
fucked up
official
shit in his
subreddit. People
past.
say my intros are long. Okay, if they're long, literally skip to where the video starts. That's why I leave chapters in my videos, okay? So,
Does he?
skip. I don't care. Anyway, let's get started with the video.
Oh, that's cute.
r/Jizzy Cards.
Jizzy Cards.
937 members. Oh boy, we're starting off strong with this one. Okay, r/Jizzy Cards. If you had to take a guess of what that even meant, go ahead, take a guess.
Alright, I bet I can nail this. I would imagine it's people doing cum tributes on old video game cartridges. I would say it's people that like, I love Ocarina of Time so much, here's the N64 cartridge. Just fucking blast it. That would be my guess.
certain you wouldn't have guessed men ejaculating onto video game cartridges and
But I did. I fucking did.
discs for fun. Yeah.
Yep,
pretty
but I
nice.
did.
There's only
I know these communities so fucking well. I've never heard of Jizzy Carts. I know this shit so well. Because there's other communities like this. Like I mentioned cum tributes. This is huge for like figurines. It's like U2's. U2's has their own cum tribute community where people will get U2's of their favorite YouTuber or whatever and they'll literally just cum on it. They'll put it in jars and shit. Yeah, it's huge. It's fucking huge. So I knew right away Jizzy Carts had to be video game related. I bet most people go to like shopping carts or something of cum, but I fucking knew exactly where this was gonna go. Thanks for the anonymous 5 gift subs, man, and the 10 gift subs, huge ass Marcus. You guys like mods at Jizzy Carts or something? Yeah, hey, fuck yeah, keep up the good work, and thank you for the generosity.
15 posts, and the subreddit was created in 2012. The most recent image was posted 3 years ago. It's safe to say that this subreddit is dead. The images consisted of 3 different accounts, but who's to say it wasn't just one person with 2 other alt accounts? The comments mainly consist of people questioning the existence of the subreddit and, requests? The main user posting these images goes
Well, hold on,
by...
I want to read the request. What did he want? If it wasn't Donkey Kong 64, they fucked up. That's a cool cartridge. Oh, better yet, Majora's Mask. That had the holographic. Good to see a rareware game being humiliated like this. I would shoot a load on Conker's Bad Fur Day, but I'm low on money at the moment. It costs nothing to ejaculate. Unless you have to put like a quarter in like a jar at your house like for every time you sin. I don't know what you mean. Or I guess like he has to buy the game.
The main user posting these images goes by ISVP7, and by clicking on this account, we can see he's still active. By the way, just by browsing this account, I got like 5 other strange subreddits that are in this video, so shout out to ISVP7. User snapped fingers. All credit to Eudoxia Mystery's video on this. He made a 25-minute detailed video.
He's a bit soulless in the prime skelly.
He's almost at 100,000 subscribers, and honestly, he deserves a lot more. So make sure to subscribe to Eudoxia Mysteries. Anyway, this is a case of a missing or dead Redditor. I obviously can't cover everything in this video because I'm covering these things in a very broad manner just because it's a list video. This story begins with the user claiming that they can see things that aren't actually there, like paranormal things, and that they were told by experts on Discord that they have to make a sacrifice.
Experts on Discord, huh?
In order for the interdimensional beings to leave them alone. Discord experts? Like...
Yeah, that's what I said.
The things they describe
that's definitely a red flag.
Dark figures of humans, adults, and children, spiders, snakes, and more. They also explain that they are against medication and refuse to see a doctor. This story is very similar to that of Worthless 319, which we already covered on the channel, so make sure to watch that after this video. Eventually,
Worthless 319 was the video we watched. It's about the Redditor who claimed he blew his cock off to save the world with a gun. I'm pretty sure it was all a hoax. I looked into it further after the stream. I'm almost 100% sure that was all just a big, like, ooh, so edgy kind of thing. The pictures weren't even of, like, a dick that had been shot by a gun. It was just more of, like, a really deformed, weird wiener. Like, I don't know how to describe it. But yeah, that was definitely not, like, a real thing. But the penectomy shit is real. There are people that do actually cut their cocks and all of that, but it wasn't that Redditor doing it.
Snapped Fingers questions the reality of there being a hell portal in the Paris catacombs and explains that they're booking a flight to put an end to this. What are the Paris catacombs though? During the Gallo-Roman period, many cemeteries within the city limits had become filled to overflowing, resulting in unsanitary and unpleasant living conditions. The problem grew so much that by 1786, these cemeteries were being emptied for reasons of public safety, with the remains of about 6 million bodies requiring to be reburied. The only location with sufficient room to hold them were all the former mine tunnels 20 meters beneath the city. Thus, the former limestone mines.
Someone got lost in the Paris catacombs and died.
As the catacombs. So yeah, it's a
I think there's like a YouTube video about it.
Actually, go visit. Some of it is open to the public. You just gotta pay. So back to Snapped Fingers. Their last post on the account, which was 2 years ago, reads, "We'll be entering the catacombs in a few hours-ish," with another comment under it reading, "Also, I am very fast. I used to run track back when I was in junior high school. I can likely outrun any possessed people. I am excited to finally close this chapter of my life and shut that blasted portal off for good." Now, personally, I do think this person was suffering from schizophrenia. Or, I could be completely wrong. This could be someone just looking for attention. The thing with these Redditor stories...
Most likely attention when on Reddit.
We don't know. We don't really know. There is going to be one on the list where we do get an update. But for the most part, these are people that just never signed back into the account. r/coming on figurines. 35.
That's what I was just fucking talking about. This is where they'll do like U2s, Marvel figurines, all kinds of shit. I was just talking about that. Yeah, this one's kind of popular. They go kind of wild.
9,000 members. I mean, pretty self-explainable. It's always been a thing to nut on figurines. I can't even say that one. Wow. It's always been a thing to nut on figurines, especially in jars. Shout out to that.
Yeah.
Shout out to the My Little Pony jar. No idea why, but something interesting I found
back
about
in the
this
Brony
subreddit
era.
is that the owner
God
has
rest
a
their soul.
Patreon where you can enter for, quote, figurine giveaways. Yeah. There's 28 patrons paying monthly to get exclusive pictures and videos of a man nutting on anime figurines.
Yo, he's probably got a great collection.
Wow. Honestly, I just want to get all through
They're probably not there for the nut or for the collection.
Let's go over to the next one. r/inbreeding, 25.5 thousand members. And just fucking your family isn't enough. Their
Okay.
description reads, subreddit for posts about adult inbreeding, real or fantasy, porn or stories, AMA questions and answers.
Jesus
If
Christ.
it's inbreeding related.
This is
post it
tier 1
here.
play it
Personal
safe.
experiences are encouraged and supported. The posts consist of a lot of people's stories, and honestly, I can't tell if they're real or just fantasy. When loading up the subreddit, we can see that this community is quarantined. When a subreddit is quarantined, it means that it's dedicated to shocking or highly
Hey,
offensive
resub you.
content, and you must be logged in order to access it. So basically like a shadow ban. And here's a strange comment I found. Well, the whole subreddit is more than strange, but again, I don't know if these people are telling the truth or just having some crazy fantasy roleplay. Congrats, that's awesome. My mom and I are currently both pregnant with my dad's babies, and that's awesome. Here's another comment that I found, and it comes
Probably
from the
not real.
perspective of a daughter that's dating her father. My current status is mostly a girlfriend, but he still sees me as a daughter often. I'll get scolded if I'm not careful enough, and sometimes that's a turnoff for me. Lol. Rarely he uses the phrase, because I'm your father, Christy, and we end up fighting. Fortunately for me, he's very sweet and caring, and he knows me very well, and he even hates the thought of hurting me, so he always makes up with me the same day.
Alright.
Cum tagging, 2,000 members. But yeah, this was just the guys splurging on objects. Men splurging on objects. I mean, that's it. There's nothing more to explain to that. We have public trash cans, airport toilet paper holders, campus bathrooms.
I
and
actually-
doors. Yeah.
So, I don't know about cum tagging, but I do know there was a... I don't want to give too much away about the guy. I've talked about it before. We've talked about it before on the podcast. Used to have this thing where we talk to people from the Patreon podcast, and one of the people that was a regular is a U.S. soldier, and he was on a submarine. He was one of the nuclear subs. So in between his tours, he'd come on to the hangout with us, and he'd always tell us the stories about like the people on the subs to pass time will literally just like come on things in the sub. I don't know how real that is, or if it was just like his degenerate crew or whatever, but it's apparently like super common, at least on that vessel, because he would talk about it like pretty much every time he came back. Do we have any other like submarine boys in here that can confirm or deny? What episode? No, it was like just hangouts where we just talked to people. It was a while ago. We haven't done that in a couple of years now. Thanks, the resub Chewy. I heard living on those is fucking horrible. Oh, it sounds absolutely miserable. Yeah, it sounds true. I can't imagine a worse career than being on a submarine. You can't leave it, you're confined to such tight space, and apparently all your friends are just ejaculating on everything. Sounds terrible. My dad was on one, but I'm not going to ask him. Why? Just hit him with that, hey, Pop, you ever come on the sub? Thanks to the resub, Turbo. Sounds like the average frat house. Well, the way you described it sounded like everything a frat, like the worst parts of a frat house at the worst possible place. Seemed miserable. But yeah, apparently that's pretty common there. According to one guy that we talked to. That was the only guy we knew like that ever worked on subs. All the other veterans were usually in like, I don't know, like the Marines or something, sometimes Air Force.
Just continuing the list of wholesome subreddits on this list. Ew. That's so gross. Women hating subreddits.
I used to give some cheese.
It's not women hating the subreddits, but it's women hate. Men that hate women. I found a lot of subreddits that are now archived. They don't exist anymore, right? But we have r/beating women. We have r/r-wording women.
Jesus
we have
Christ.
r/hate women. We have r/just r-word. I'm not gonna go through what. I mean, you guys can imagine.
Yeah,
There's
I
just
can pretty
guys,
much take
I
a
hate
guess.
them, or I hate them. I want to do this to them. I want to R-word. Like, I found an archive of the R-wording women one. I mean, just look at the suggestions.
Oh
That's enough
my
to tell you.
god, what the fuck is this? There's a thing on Reddit where like almost every sub has the same moderators. I wonder if they were mods on here. I imagine at least one or two of them were. There's only like 100 mods on all of Reddit, and they happen to mod every other subreddit on that fucking site. Like, there's some mods that are literally a power mod of 100 other different subreddits.
Like, Reddit was a crazy place back then, and still is, but it was just a lot less monitored. r/iblech, 228,000 members. Iblech
Music
is
is
one of the
so
more
lukewarm.
popular ones on this subreddit, especially if you're into gore and just disturbing things in general. I wouldn't use the word mainstream because we're going to talk about another subreddit that has like millions of members, but definitely more popular. It's ironic that this is one of the more popular ones because you can argue it has the worst stuff imaginable. r/iblech became one of the main subreddits to visit for gore, especially when r/gore and r/watch people die.
Oh,
were
I actually
banned by
remember when they
Reddit.
did that.
Why isn't this one taken down? According to some users, this subreddit is completely banned in some countries. However, I do not know which ones. Yeah, I have nothing more to add to this. I don't know what else to say about it. It's pretty gross though, so a little warning if you guys want to head over there.
Was that first one Tub Girl? I didn't read it.
Pissers Gone Wild. 1.2 thousand members. We fuck shit up. This community is for the dedicated sink pissers who want to take their game to the next level.
Fuck yeah,
Created in
finally.
2019. This is a subreddit dedicated to people peeing in sinks.
Finally,
Asking
my kind of
why
people.
is pointless at this point. We're
My
talking
brethren.
about Reddit. Peeing in your sink, weird, but okay. I mean, you're not harming anyone, right? But these people go out of their way to sometimes pee in public sinks or their friends' bathrooms. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
get
a thing
pranked.
to walk into your local retail store or a neighbor's house, a friend's house, walk into the bathroom and record yourself peeing in their sink, hoping that no one walks in, with captions like "fuck it, not my sink," cleaning out the neighbor's sink, and always better in a public sink. I think it's safe to say that the members of this server are not in the right headspace, and I'm sure some of them are gonna watch this. My videos get very popular now, and if I'm offending any of you, I'm sorry. I don't want any of you to fucking pull up to my house and start peeing in my sink.
True, you don't want
At
to
least
fuck
what
with the
I want.
sink
It's not like I have a
pissers.
piss kink or anything. I don't. I mean, imagine going to a friend's house and then thinking, "Oh boy, I can't wait to take a piss in their sink and record it for."
I'm sure everyone's pissed in a sink at
Guys,
least once in their
reminder,
life. Like,
if
let's
you guys are
not
enjoying the video
mince
so far, Make
words.
sure to leave a like, and if you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe.
We've all been 2 or 3
User
Bud Lights
Condor
deep,
_sales.
19 years old,
An
and
extremely sad story.
it's
of
a little
Redditor's
wacky.
Last words. His account has since been deleted, but I'll be using screenshots that I found from a YouTube video, so all my sources will be linked down in the description. This user would make extremely depressing posts on multiple subreddits. I'll read some so
Thanks
you
for
guys
good
get
sub,
the
Josie.
idea of what this person was
And
battling.
lukewarm.
I'm just struggling to understand the meaning behind enjoying life. If it's just gonna end at some point, either abruptly with no warning, young, or slowly and humiliatingly with old age. What is a hug supposed to feel like? I'm genuinely considering just for the small chance that it will allow me to start life over. Further on, he goes to explain that he has a facial deformity due to his mother smoking while he was in her stomach, so while she was pregnant. He describes regretting pursuing engineering and is really going to go through with taking his own life. Then we get this
Yeah,
one.
that's sad.
I lose. I am 25 years old. I have a degree. I have been actively searching for a job for half a year now, getting absolutely nowhere. I am a virgin despite efforts to not be one. I am poor. I live in the cheapest student dormitory in the city. All my flatmates are filthy and I don't feel comfortable in my own home. I may get kicked out any day at short notice once they discover I'm not
Aw.
a student anymore. I have no friends. My family has excommunicated me. I am born with a malformed face. This isn't exaggeration or drama. My medical records describe me as malformed. I am
Well, this one's just
objectively
sad.
hideous and will never be looked at with affection. I am r/oh come on 63.1 thousand members. 63.1 thousand, that's actually a lot. There's a lot of humans that have joined this subreddit. They describe themselves as a place to challenge others to come in unusual places, ways, and circumstances. You know what, I'm not gonna describe any, I'm gonna describe one. Sorry guys, this one is it's called the Oreo video.
I've
This
never
is
heard of
something
Come
that is
On.
gonna be stuck in my brain forever, and it's even hard to repeat what happened, but I'm gonna do it for you guys. One, because it's funny. 2, that's it. It's just funny. So there's this video where this guy, I'm gonna use the word splurge, okay? I'm not gonna, yeah. So this guy, Oreo,
The word
got
is
white
usually
stuff in the middle,
splooge. Is
right?
splurge the new
this
one?
This guy, takes off the cream, right? And then splurges where the cream should be, puts the fucking Oreo on top, makes the cookie again with the splurge, leaking out and shit, and fucking eats it on video, dude.
Damn, that's
Well,
hardcore.
He doesn't eat it on video, but, you could tell, he's
That's
munching on it,
that's
right?
Chris
It's just,
Chan shit.
and I already know some of you guys are gonna
That's
go look it
gourmet.
up. If you guys watch my channel, I know you guys are gonna go look it up. At least give me the watch time. Like always, give me the watch time and then go give yourself a little bit of trauma. That one's called the Oreo video. Not officially named that, but I'm naming it the Oreo video. This video is brought to you by Manscaped.com. Feeling your best starts with
Manscaped does slap. Agreed.
r/justno, MIL. 1.8 million
Whoa.
members. MIL means mother-in-law. This subreddit is dedicated to people venting about their horrible mothers and mother-in-laws. I'm gonna read you guys a story that pissed me off and I'm sure will enrage any normal human being. When my twin girls were born, we had no issues in the hospital. They were born right on their due date, latched perfectly, and passed all their postnatal tests with stellar stats.
Nice.
When we brought them home, however, we noticed that one of the girls, let's call her OD, since she was a whole 4.5 minutes older than her sister, was developing a rash. I hadn't really dealt with allergies in kids since my son didn't have them, and neither did any child or adult in my entire family. I wasn't sure what it was. I thought that maybe she just had sensitive skin like me. I can't tolerate certain fabrics because I have very dry skin, and I'll often break out in rashes if my skin decides that it doesn't like something. So I stopped using fabric softener on all the clothes. I bought the nicest, most comfortable bedding and clothes. At one point, I even made her clothes myself in the fear that maybe something in the manufacturing process was upsetting my OD. We went to the doctor several times, and they knew that she was having an allergic reaction to something. But every test came back negative, and we couldn't
Oh, and it
figure
turned out
what
the
it
mother-in-law was
It
doing
took
some
3
crazy
more
shit.
months to figure it out. During that time, her allergic reactions got more and more severe. At one point, she was the only baby in the history of the hospital who had to be kept in a clean room because she seemed to have a reaction the minute she left. When that happened, we began to have elimination therapy that would rival the lifestyle of Buddhist monks. My husband and I moved our son and YD in with his parents because we needed to eliminate everything from our routine to figure out what was causing the reaction to our OD. We stopped using our soap, our shampoo, our deodorants, our laundry detergents, and that was before we even got to our diet. It took us 3 more months, but we figured it out. Our OD was allergic to coconut. The doctors told us that it was a particularly rare allergen, and so it wasn't on any of the skin test panels they ran. When we found out what she was allergic to, we were so relieved. So relieved. But in addition to feeling relieved, I delved into a bout of hysterical laughter. I laughed so hard I cried, and to this day, my DH tells me that he didn't know if I was crying from relief or pure happiness. Okay, so like I said, this story is very long, but to summarize it, the baby has an allergic reaction to coconut oil, and now we're being introduced to the mother, right? The mother of the woman. And this
I thought it was gonna be something like the mother-in-law was
serious,
like using bleach on the kid or some shit.
Like, what was gonna happen? So let's skip to where the grandmother is taking care of the baby. My mother had put coconut oil in both my daughter's hair when they were playing the previous day before bed. The girls loved it when my mom did their hair, and so they asked for braids, and my mom was doing their hair. She put coconut oil in both their hair because it would make for smoother braids. According to my son, OD started to get a little dizzy and itchy when my mom was doing her hair, so my mom gave her some kids Benadryl, which made her sleepy. Since it was close to bedtime anyways, the kids went to bed. Giving her Benadryl was something we did whenever she had a mild reaction, since it usually meant she accidentally came across some coconut from a secondary source. We also showered her head to toe immediately to erase any lingering traces of it. My mother simply gave her some Benadryl and kept the coconut oil in her hair and put her to fucking sleep. The Benadryl made her sleepy and unable to wake up or be conscious enough to wake up her brother or cry. She vomited in her sleep and the rash spread all over. Her little body was swollen to twice the size.
Well, that was sad.
She had asphyxiated in her sleep. She died painfully and slowly in the early hours of the morning. My mother was never arrested. My father did leave her, though they're not officially divorced. The majority of my mother's family refuse to speak to her, and the few that do speak to her only do so on a limited basis. She currently lives on her own in a small town, and every couple months I'll get a call from her telling me how sorry she is and how she just wasn't thinking, and can I please find a way to forgive her. She wants to come see me. The only thing I can find to ever say to her is, you can come see me when you bring my daughter with you. If you guys want to go read it on your own, it's a lot longer than what I just said, and I know what I said.
Man, that's probably one of the most intense ones on that subreddit.
Horrible. That sucks.
The rest is probably like
God,
my mother-in-law baked
ignorance,
a
bro.
dry turkey.
That's what ignorance does, man. Let's move on.
Jesus Christ.
R/jailbait. The Urban Dictionary
Oh, that was a
definition
big one
of
back
jailbait
in the
is
day.
a female who is under the age of consent.
That shit
but
was
who dresses,
fucked.
acts, and appears as if she is over the age of consent, and who does nothing to correct that impression when she is bedded. Yeah, when I read that, I was like, whoa, what kind of victim blaming, dude? Why are you getting mad at them? Like, nah, I don't want to get off track, but it's just weird when guys are like, yo, you shouldn't dress like that. Too young. It's not even your life. Just fucking move on. Go on Reddit. Actually, that's what they were doing. It was just a place where creeps would talk about underage girls. At the time, Eric Martin,
They used it at the
general
front
manager,
page
defended
almost
several
every
notorious
week.
subreddits, including jailbait, by claiming that it was one of the side effects of promoting free expression on the web. Reddit administrators took down the subreddit after a user shared a picture of an underage teenager, saying that he had nude photos of her as well. And many users were requesting, send me. Yeah, it's just pretty disgusting stuff.
Yeah, he's underselling how popular that was. Back when I first found Reddit, I would have been, what, a junior in high school? Jailbait was usually on the front page. That was a massive fucking subreddit. That would, what year would that have been? 2011-ish? It was fucking crazy. Yeah, and that was like, for some reason on Reddit, that like was totally normal. And I remember someone made a big hoopla. I don't remember, it might have been our atheism, to be honest, because that was also huge then. Someone made like a huge hoopla, like, why the fuck are we just allowing like open pedophiles on the site, like super transparent? And they're like, no, 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 jailbait's fine. Jailbait's good for Reddit, actually. And it was like a huge controversy when people were like, we need to get jailbait the fuck out of here. But they fought tooth and nail. That was on there for a long time. Like a really long time. Much longer than you'd expect.
Spontaneous H. This is
That's
the story
Twitter
of
now.
a Redditor who documented
Okay, I
himself
guess.
injecting heroin. I'll read the main posts. I did heroin yesterday. I am not a drug user and have never done anything besides pot back when I was a teen. Ask me anything. This is a little long. I've never been a drug user. I drink once in a while and smoked pot years ago back when I was a teen in high school a few times, and that's it. I'm 24 now, have a master's, and a well-paying
This one's
full-time
fake.
job. Yesterday, I was
Usually
walking
the
through
personal
Washington
stories
Square
are.
Park, where I pass every day, and there are always people looking to sell drugs. Not in the park anymore due to the cameras, but it is well known you can meet a dealer and do the transaction elsewhere these
Thanks for
days.
some
They
damper
usually
and
don't
prime
solicit drugs
Sebi.
to you unless you stop to stand around near one of them for some reason or look like you're looking for something. Yesterday, I happened to stop by a row of benches to check some messages on my phone when a dealer on the bench to my right asked me if I need anything. My life has been pretty boring the last few years, and I felt like I haven't really lived, taken any risks, or done anything crazy. So I figured, what the hell? Maybe I'll buy some pot. It's been a while. I said yeah, and after asking me several times if I'm a cop, he gives me his number and tells me to meet him at a fast food place several blocks away, and he will, quote, hook me up.
Sleep
I was
well,
blown away by
man.
the power of this drug and how orgasmic it felt. I never understood why people did drugs before and got so hooked on them, but now I see why. I have the urge to do it again, but I will resist and not do it, at least not for a long time. I understand the addiction potential and how someone could easily tear apart their lives with this stuff. Heroin is pure powdered pleasure. I actually feel proud of myself for having the balls to do something this crazy, and I feel like it was a valuable life experience and my window into another world and part of society. I'll never forget the day I did heroin. Now, ask me anything. 2 weeks ago, I tried heroin once for fun and made an AMA. I have been using since and shot up for the first time today.
No.
AMA. Wednesday night update. Fucking, I'm still withdrawing, throwing up, and sweating out gallons of sweat. I really want to use and relapse right now. I know I shouldn't. These urges are so strong and overpowering.
No shot,
Please
these are
help
real.
me if you
Nah,
can
I
before
usually
get
don't
chance
believe
to.
the
Fuck my life.
personal
I wish I was
ones.
trolling and this was some elaborate lie. I was doing everything right, have been clean, and somehow a rumor got out that I've been using, and my girlfriend found out. She basically broke up with me last night, but is now putting that decision on hold. I have some serious unrelated business/work I need to attend to in 2 hours, and I don't know if I'll be in any state to be able to be ready. I can't stop crying. Fuck heroin. Fuck my life. I guess I don't need to say that since heroin pretty much fucked my life for me in under 2 weeks. I just want to die. I am a patient in a psychiatric hospital. I was also technically dead last week. Ask me anything. Well, you guys will be
Thanks
happy
for
to
some
know
Twista.
that this person is actually still alive. Even though this all happened about 12 years ago, this user actually came back 4 months ago with an update. It's been a while. This is not an AMA or anything exciting, really. I saw a disturbing and sad post about an opiate overdose on
Easy tier
public
one
freakout
slang.
and was reminded to try to
Is it
log
totally
in
fake?
and
Yeah,
check this. I guess
probably.
it's been over 3 years since I checked this or posted anything. I find this Reddit account pretty overwhelming. I'm just posting to let people know that I'm still alive, clean, and doing well. Thanks to everyone who reached out in messages checking in over the past few years, and sorry if I can't get back to you. Here's another comment with more details where he responded to another user. It has been coming up on almost 11 years since I have used heroin, any hard
Thanks for
drugs, or
knifing.
alcohol. That was November 2010. A few years ago, I had a slip and just smoked weed, which is a bad mistake, so I consider my current total clean time 3 years since I count that. Nice. We actually had a happy ending to this one. Love that. Love that he's still okay and doing just fine. It's kind of crazy to just be like, hey yo, let me just shoot up some heroin. Fuck
Is he
it.
tier one
My life
gifted?
kind of boring. Oh, should I document my experience doing that? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Yeah, no. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Don't click off yet. Don't click off yet.
I knew
wanna say
almost all of
something. In
those.
the community tab, when I was telling you guys to leave requests for
Nice.
video ideas, right? Or like Reddit ideas for this one. People were saying that I
He didn't
just,
even
like,
cover
steal
Truecels,
video
which
idea
is
topics,
surprising.
and I just cover them in a mediocre way. Which
Do you guys remember Truecels? That was a little bit before the big incel explosion. Thanks to Prime Grant. Wow, most people don't seem to remember it. Truecels was they were the progenitor to modern incels. They had a lot of very sad dudes that would post shit like women should be kept on farms and men should be allowed to buy women to fuck them. Like really horrible stuff, like incel shit, before it became mainstream. That one was pretty wild. They had like full websites full of like hundreds of pages where people would like write some real gross shit and their weird view on the world. Thanks the resub, Asa. Pre or post Elliot Rogers? Fuck, I'd have to really think. I'm not sure. I think it was post because I vaguely remember that one of the websites had Elliot Rogers like their poster child. So I'm thinking it was post Elliot Rogers. Yeah, it was fucked. Thanks the voice crack, the resub, Shoof, and Cypher. I feel like there were some other ones that weren't covered, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. Truecels is just one that I always remembered. You going to bed? I'll come say goodnight in a sec. Why do people go so feral for sex? I don't know, man. There's some fucking weirdos out there. Just as simple as that. Woo! We flew a little close to the sun there. God damn. Don't let anyone say I don't take risks. Alright, let's run it. There's the Prime Krigi.
They say that nothing on the internet is ever truly gone. One of the most compelling aspects
That's
of
wrong.
this very
All of my
resource
old
that we
anime
use every
music
day
videos are gone.
is the fact that, for the
Can't get
most
them back.
part, any and everything that's ever been posted online can be archived.
Nope, not my
forever, like a never-ending diary.
I've been trying for years to find
This
my old
allows
videos.
the possibility for an incomprehensible amount of information gathered from the past and present available to us at any
Thanks
given
for
time.
Sorry and Paradox.
Over on Reddit, a lot of strange, disturbing, and even depressing things have played out over the years.
Thank you, Canada
leaving
Matt.
us
Appreciate the
with
5
tons
gift
of
subs.
stories and events to dig through. Within this vast sea of archives, though, is one that really hit home for me back when it happened, as it, in real time, merged the realms of the internet and reality, ultimately leaving people absolutely baffled at the resolution.
I'll
Get
be the
ready,
judge of that.
because tonight, we're going to head back in time to 2016 to explore the incredibly bizarre and heartbreaking story of a Redditor by the name of Jasoninhell.
Jasoninhell. That's pretty extreme.
On the late evening of October 28th of 2016, a Redditor named Jasoninhell would make a sudden post to the relationship advice subreddit, seeking counsel regarding a cheating situation that played out between his wife and neighbor. His post is titled, "I'm having a hard time coping with my wife having cheated on me with our neighbor."
Damn,
In
she
the
cheated with a
post,
51-year-old
he outlines in
dude?
immense detail
He must be
his
slinging
experience
meat.
catching his wife cheating on him over a year prior. At the time, though, little did everyone know that this would be the spearhead of the absolute turmoil that he and his family would soon begin to endure.
Hey, thanks. God damn, Car Stark. Thank you. Appreciate the bits.
So, quick side note before we move on. I did a story narration back in my Redditor
Maybe I
Escapes
can't
the
watch
Cult
that
video,
shadow.
and you guys seem to like it. For this one, we're going to lay things out largely the same way. We'll
Thanks,
go
Prime
through
Party.
Jason's full story before diving into the aftermath of how things turned out. The original post is about an 8-minute read, so if you'd like to grab a snack or drink before we get into it,
Oh, Jesus,
now would
okay.
be the time.
I was hoping for just the cliff notes, but that's okay. Fuck it, we're already here. I'll let it ride.
I'm having a hard time coping with my wife having cheated on me with her neighbor. It has been 476 days since I confronted her about it. How do I know? Because every time I catch myself thinking about it, I tell myself, it's only been X days. Maybe you won't think about it tomorrow.
That sounds highly unlikely.
So
He's
to go
not an
back to the
anime
beginning,
character.
I had
No
just
one does
taken on
that.
a new project and new responsibilities at work. I was working a lot of hours, 60 plus per week, and was noticeably stressed. It was in May of 2015 that I noticed that she had a password on her phone. When confronted about it, She told me it was just because she was planning my Father's Day present and didn't want me to ruin the surprise.
Ah.
About a week later, she came
Good
to me
plan.
and told me that she felt guilty keeping a big secret from me and told me that she was having our neighbor, a contractor, build a home office for me as my present. It struck me as odd, as in our 6 years together she's never said she felt guilty about anything and always insists that she never regrets anything in her life. Time goes on, her phone is still
Guess we
password
sub Yee in
protected,
the Prime
and
Squish.
things don't feel right. I see her using her phone and smiling to herself more and more often, but when I ask her what she's doing, she says nothing and puts her phone away. So one morning, I wait for her to get in the shower, and I grab her phone before it requires the password. I go through her messages and find that she's texting the neighbor. I'm all covered in frosting.
What?
You want to lick it off?
What is this, porn? Like, what are you talking? There's no fucking way this is real. What? Why is everyone saying this is real? Who? So was she actually covered in frosting? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Raided a kid's birthday party and fell and flopped around in the cake? I highly doubt this is real. The guy starts by saying, it's been 476 days since I found this. I know because I've counted every day. Telling myself I'll forget about it tomorrow or whatever. That does not sound real at all. I'll let it ride, but this is very fishy at best.
There were no other messages to the neighbor, but I found out later that was because she had set up her phone to delete messages after a certain amount of time. I felt uncomfortable with it, but I knew she had a perverted sense of humor, and I thought she would never do anything to hurt me. More time goes by, and the neighbor is spending more and more time at our house, but the office is being completed slower and slower. I can't help but worry that something isn't right, so I start checking her location using Google Timeline. It was at this point that
Why
I
is that,
realized that
Dion?
there are large gaps in her GPS history because she was turning off her
What?
phone's GPS.
Jesus.
Fast forward to July.
So this
and
guy's
at
basically a
point,
stalker.
The paranoia is driving me nuts, so I tell her that I need to install a new antivirus on her phone. While she has it unlocked for me, I install an anti-theft software so I can remotely turn the GPS back on and set up AT&T message backup and restore so I can read all of her text messages.
Does a
from
program like
point
that even
on my
exist?
computer.
That sounds like a
The
convenient
next
tool
day,
in like a
my mother
bad
asked to spend
CW
time with my
movie.
2 kids, so my wife
For people
drops
that don't
them off with
understand
her and has
technology.
the day to herself. I watch my wife's activity from work as she spends the day trying to meet up with a neighbor.
That exists?
But is unsuccessful because he's busy with another job site. That night, we get the kids back from my mom's house and we go to dinner with a neighbor, his girlfriend, and his son. My wife and his girlfriend are having a good time, drinking, laughing, and just joking around. His girlfriend mentions that she'd like to see Magic Mike. I say it's a good idea and I'll watch the kids so my wife and her can go. So my wife and her go, and the neighbor and I go back to my house so the kids can play video games together.
Oh shit, he beats his ass.
The kids are back in my son's room playing games, and the neighbor's sitting across from me on the other couch. It's at this point that my wife starts texting him. She's describing sex acts that she would like to perform with him, and he's reciprocating. She tells him to check his Snapchat, and at the same time, I get a Snapchat from her too, and it's her fingering herself in a bathroom stall. They keep
Is he
talking,
married
trying
to
figure out when they can meet
fucking
up and have sex.
Susie Squirts a
They decide
lot?
on
Like
Monday morning after I go to
who
work.
does that?
So in my head,
What?
I already planned to pretend to leave and circle back to catch them. But then they tell each other they love each other, and it's all I can do not to leap off the couch and knock him out. But I contain myself and continue reading
This
the
seems so
conversation
goddamn
unfolding
fake.
in front of me. Then he tells her, "You're my girl now," to which she replies, "Always have been," ending with him writing, "And always will be."
This is fanfic. This is literally fucking fanfic. Holy shit.
My wife and the neighbor's
I've been
girlfriend
duped.
return from the movie, and I ask them politely to sit down. I then ask the kids to stay in my son's room and shut the door. I return to the living room and confront my
Damn,
wife
Rhett.
and the neighbor. I say, "So you two love each
I
other,
really
huh?"
appreciate the huge
And my
bits. I'm
wife goes
glad you
into
had fun
full-blown
tonight.
denial mode, and
Thank
the
you,
neighbor's
Rhett.
girlfriend starts smacking him. I ask my wife if she's been texting him. She says no, so I show her the text messages. She admits to it but says it was the first time that it went that far. I ask my wife if she sent him pictures. She says no, so I show her the picture, and she admits it but says it was the first time. I ask her if she's having sex with him, and she says no. Because I didn't want to catch them
Is
having
there
sex
sub
together,
limp
I
listen
didn't have
in
evidence
Ray?
to prove her
Give sub Ray.
wrong, so that one stayed unresolved. I tell her that I'm leaving her, and she tells me that she'll make sure that I never see my kids again if I do. She planned on using the fact that I had attempted suicide in high school to prove me unfit to have children. She continues to say that it was my fault for being so busy with work and stressed out that she just wanted someone she could talk to. Then she gives me an ultimatum to decide what I'm going to do, or she'll decide for me. The neighbor's girlfriend starts defending the two of them, saying that it couldn't have been that
What?
serious if they weren't having sex, and that my wife and I are too perfect together to let this break us up. The neighbors go home, and my wife and I
Okay,
argue
yeah,
for
that
the rest
sounds
of the
like
night
something
about
normal
what
that
we're gonna
happens.
do. We go to bed separately, having not resolved anything. We keep going back and forth on the subject all weekend, and finally settle on we were going to separate temporarily while we figure out what we want. I was going to stay in the house, and she was going to take the kids and go to her mom's house. That Monday I go to work, and I get a text from her in the middle of a meeting with my bosses, stating that she had explained things to our kids, but they were upset, and I needed to explain things to them also. I get home from work to find my kids crying. She had told them that mommy had to move out because dad was mad at her. When my son wanted to stay with me, she told him that he can't.
Oh, it's getting real dark.
My son put it together that if mommy has to move out because I'm mad at her, and he must move out, then I must have been mad at him too. My daughter was crying because my son was, but I don't think that she was old enough to understand what was happening. It was at this moment I realized that she was going to drag the kids through hell if I left her, so I swallowed my feelings and begged her to stay. She agreed and insisted that I apologize to our neighbor since we were still going to need to hang out with him because our sons are good friends.
Thanks for some
I
water.
hate it, but I do it anyway. We still hang out with them from time to time, and they come to our various birthday and holiday parties, but I'd do anything for my kids, and I behave civil every time. Things die down for a while. I still think about it constantly. I worry how I can keep from making her so unhappy that she cheats on me again. Then, almost a year after the original incident, around Father's Day again, she sends him pictures again. She claims that it was an accident and that she meant to send them to me instead. I don't fully believe her, but I move on anyway.
Thanks for resub, Prater.
Things have been quiet on that front for about 4 months now, but I still think about it constantly.
In this
is going to
video,
sound
Dion?
stupid, but I feel like I have a part of my brain that I can't shut off, that's always thinking. I used to use that to solve programming problems, and it made me very good at my job, but ever since this incident, the only thing it thinks about is her and him, and if I did the right thing. My job performance has suffered, and I
Thanks for
feel
the
like I
resub,
haven't
Oki.
gotten sleep in months. I'm afraid that after this much time, and the fact that I begged her back, that to say that I want a divorce now would only make her more vindictive towards my kids and I just feel like I put myself so deep in a hole that I could never get back out. I haven't really talked to anyone about this. I didn't want to talk to my mom about it because I felt like she would treat my wife differently, and I didn't need the two fighting. any more
Alright,
than
now I'm
they
all
already
caught up
do.
on the lore.
I tried talking to one friend about it, but his advice was to put my trust in God, but that was not much solace for me as I'm an atheist.
That sounds
So I
like a
have no clue
Redditor
what to
for
do with
sure.
my feelings, or how to move on from this.
And then I also spit in my friend's face and said wubba lubba dub dub.
In response to Jason, users chimed in with a mixed bag of emotions. To get the full picture on all the flack that he was getting for this, here are a few examples. I cannot believe you stayed with her. I cannot believe you begged
I don't
her
really
to stay.
care
I
about the
cannot
Redditor
believe you
response. I just
apologized
want to
your
know
neighbor.
where the story goes, to be honest.
Smack the shit out of that old man. Go to an attorney and talk about ways to get custody of your kids. Your wife's a twat. Staying in a marriage for the sake of the kids never works out. She obviously was sleeping with him and then got you to apologize to him. She denied it all. She will put you through the ringer when you divorce her, but you should do it. Chances are, now she has a second phone and an email address to talk to him.
A
Your
detective.
wife is
Good,
vicious and
finally.
toxic, and you have to decide if you divorce her now or when your kids have moved out. The sooner the better. So this all would be a lot for anyone to handle. Taking some of the serious, grounded advice that a few people had thrown in there was pivotal for him to begin moving on from this. And so we did. 4 nights later, on November 1st, Jason would return to the relationship advice subreddit and make a follow-up post.
Okay, where we at, Jason?
I'm taking your advice. He explains his next move. Instead of trying to fix something that she doesn't want to fix, I'm going to get myself and my kids out. I meet with an attorney next week. Thank you everyone for helping me see how far I had my head up my ass. In
Very
response
nice,
to
very
this
nice.
one, Reddit wished him luck in his endeavors, reinforcing the idea that he's making the right move. But then something strange would happen.
Uh-oh, aliens? What happened?
Going through the comments a bit
Galactic
deeper
fight?
reveals something a little odd. Like we said, yes, people were commending him on his decision, but about a week later, people began jumping back into the post,
What?
linking a news article that seemed to align with this situation with striking accuracy.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Smith. Thanks for joining us. 2 Montgomery County children are dead tonight. Their mother, 30-year-old Brandy Worley, says she is responsible for their deaths. News 18's Krista Henry joins us live from the the Montgomery County
There's the
courthouse
resub Logan
tonight with
ad,
more on
and the
this
tier
developing
1
story.
Rico, and
Krista?
resub Spike Caps.
Well,
And the
Jeff,
big raid
this
tech
morning when
ton.
I asked Sheriff Mark
Thank you,
Castile
goddamn.
if
The door of
Worley
fate
showed any
shall
kind of
open.
remorse, he answered with no,
I've
and then
been
went on to
waiting
say,
for
quote,
you,
she, in
friends.
fact, acted very matter of fact.
Hold on. Thank you for the huge raid, Tectone. And thanks to the resub Rogan Gamer. Yeah, I still don't really believe this story is real. This seems like classic Reddit when they thought they caught the Boston bomber type thing, connecting these dots. Clearly I'm not done yet, so I don't know for sure. But yeah, just to catch you up to speed. Dude's wife was slamming meat of a 51-year-old neighbor, and dude went to Reddit for advice, as any sane man would do, I guess. And now Redditors in the follow-up are saying that his wife killed the kids. So that's where we're at. Thanks to Prime Shift. Reasons why I think it's fake. This guy counted every day for 476 days that his wife was cheating. And apparently his wife fingers herself in movie theater stalls and sends it to him or sends it to the neighbor on Snapchat and him. So I don't know, that seems weird. Seems fishy.
According to ABC6 Indianapolis, on November 17th of that year, a Montgomery County mother was charged with 2 counts of murder after police say she admitted to killing her 2 young children. According to the probable cause affidavit, Brandy Worley told police that her husband was divorcing her, and I did not want him taking them, so I stabbed them. The children's father, Jason Worley, was sleeping in the basement at the time of the crime.
Jesus, why the basement?
According to court documents, Jason had filed for divorce on Wednesday, citing an irretrievable breakdown in the marriage as the reason for the divorce. Now, this definitely carries tons of parallels to the original story. Here, we have a woman named Brandy Worley who, in cold blood, murdered her children, citing the fact that she didn't want Jason taking them as her motive. On the other hand, on Reddit, we have this story by this Jasoninhell guy, who has the same first name, might I add, about his unnamed wife being unfaithful and how he just filed for divorce. And lastly, in his original story, he relayed the fact that his wife claimed that he'll never see the kids again if the two split.
Thanks to some Papa Blacks.
Back when this was unfolding, people were speculating that this might be the same guy. Tons of signs were pointing to this, but most were simply trying to maintain that tiny sliver of skepticism. That was until November 21st, when Jason would return to do one last follow-up, essentially confirming everyone's preconceptions. Thank you. I would like to give a heartfelt and sincere thank you for the advice and support I've received here. No one could have foreseen the tragedy that resulted from me filing for divorce. You guys perform a wonderful service to those in need, and I hope you continue to do so in the future. Below this, he attached a link to the same news article outlining the situation. And it was at this moment that everyone realized just how real this entire thing actually was.
Yeah.
Brandy was the one that stoically reported this to the authorities.
That sounds like a totally reasonable post for a father going through grief saying thank you and linking the death of his children so casually.
Montgomery County 911, where's your emergency?
203 South Madison Street,
In what town?
Darlington.
Hey, what's going on there?
I just stabbed myself and I killed my 2 children.
You stabbed yourself and killed your 2 children?
Thanks a good sub, Tony.
Okay, and what's your name?
Brandy Worley.
Brandy what?
Worley.
Okay. How do you spell your last name?
Worley.
And where are the children at?
In my daughter's
No. All of this is real. I'm saying the Reddit post being this couple is what I'm questioning. I'm not done yet, so maybe I'll be convinced here in 4 minutes.
My husband wanted to divorce and wanted to take my kid. I won't let him have my kid.
Okay, and how old are your children?
7 and 3.
10 and 3?
7.
703.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And where did you stab yourself at?
In the neck.
Okay. Are you bleeding?
Yeah, there's blood everywhere.
There's the bits
Okay, where are
lavender.
you at?
In my living room.
You're in their living room?
Mm-hmm.
According to court documents, the two children, Tyler and Charlie Worley, were stabbed, resulting in deep lacerations on both of their necks. Brandy had stabbed herself in the same place as well, but this surprisingly didn't end up killing her. Shortly after this, Brandy was treated at the hospital for her stab wound, and about a week later was admitted
Jesus
to jail,
Christ.
where she sat for 476 days up until her final sentencing. In 2018, she was convicted of 2 counts of murder, totaling at 120 years in prison. According to Fox 59, Brandy was expected to claim the insanity defense, but ended up settling for a guilty plea. She appeared to be just as
Uncle
unremorseful
Iroh.
as she did in the 911 call.
In the prime.
She spoke in a very matter-of-fact manner when
Senior.
describing her crime. It was heart-wrenching to hear her speak as she did. All I want, and have ever wanted, was to have her out of sight and mind so I can move forward from this horror. To this day, Brandy Worley sits in the Rockville Correctional Facility in Park County, Indiana, serving out her time in prison for the remainder of her life. As for Jason, he's made a return to Reddit under the nickname Jason in Code, giving everyone a much requested update on how he's coping. Here, he claims that it's been incredibly far from easy, and at times he's considered taking his own life due to the anguish caused by the passing of his beloved children. Regarding the sentencing, he believes that Brandy shouldn't have gotten the death sentence because that's what she would have wanted, and after 9 years of giving her exactly that, he wanted to avoid it in any way he could. Overall, though, Jason mostly claims that he's doing better, and becomes more so with each passing day. If I can impart you on something that I have learned through all of this, it's that you
What a
should
fucking
always
story.
take the time to be with the ones you love. It doesn't matter if they're asking you to read The Pokey Little Puppy for the millionth time, or asking you to play Smash Bros, even though you know that they'll wipe the floor with you every time. Just do it, because you never know what time will be the last time. Always make sure they know how much you love them. I had the fortune that the last thing my children ever heard me say was, "I love you. Good night. I'll see you in the morning."
Yeah, maybe it is real. Or that Jasoninhell, whoever made it,
Thanks so much
capitalized
for
off
watching. I'll see you in the next one.
story
I love you all.
for internet points. Kind
And
of like
give it.
those people who make Twitter accounts during a tragedy to try and get points and GoFundMes, but I find that unlikely. Damn, what a wild ride. Still, this
For divorce.
really strikes me as super odd. Assuming this is all real, why would he make this post as a follow-up? This does not seem like someone who, literally days after the murder of his kids, would be so cavalier to post this. Seems very odd to me. But, who knows, I guess. Thanks to resub Selden in the Prime, Aiden and Turtle. Resub Giblet. Cavalier being the wrong word. Yeah, could be fake, probably real though. Reddit karma is like the least, like on the food chain of social points, it's literally the lowest. Nobody is Reddit famous. I guarantee maybe 5 people can tell me who has the most karma on all of Reddit because no one gives a fuck. So I don't think someone would farm karma like that. You can be Twitter famous, Facebook famous and all that shit, but Reddit, I've never heard of someone Reddit famous or anything like that. You command 0 power and 0 presence by having a ton of karma on Reddit. Seen that one actually, Wicked. And thanks to the resub, Super. So it's probably real then. Fucking wild story. Deep fucking Value isn't famous for Reddit. He's famous for that entire GME movement, which started on Reddit, I suppose, so you could argue it, but it's not like he was just a Reddit commenter. Like, he wasn't a Reddit karma farmer. He was a Redditor who did something fucking crazy, which caught on and blew up. I guess, Bind. I'm just assuming it's real. It seems very, very wild if that was all an elaborate fake from that Reddit account. Thanks for the gift, Subwheela.
I'm built differently. I'm built differently. I'm built differently. I'm built differently.
The Redditor that vanished? Okay, wait, that sounds great.
The variety of daily users from all walks of life congregating on one single public
Thanks,
forum
Eddie.
has created a sense of community that's
Amen.
nearly unmatched in the current online landscape. Because of this, the website's given us the ability to look into our fellow Redditors' post histories, giving us a small peek into the lives they live. Oftentimes, these are mostly mundane. However, if you do a bit of digging, you'll find some that stand anomalous, abandoned, and forever embedded within the corner they carved online.
That's deep.
In 2017,
That's deep.
a user named Flip&Flop made a post explaining that they're eager to try out a drug by the name of datura. While the initial response was greatly against it, Flip&Flop ignored
I
the
have
advice
no idea what
and
that
did it
is. What the
anyway,
fuck is that?
creating disturbing update
Here's a Prime
comments
7.
and leaving behind baffled onlookers that feared the worst had happened to them. This is the story of Flip&Flop.
If it's bath salts, then he probably just went to Florida. He probably took that shit and then immediately went to Florida to get more. I solved the case right away.
On the night of April 17th of 2017, Flip&Flop would jump in with the simple question. Finally got my hands on some datura. How much should I take? Their post reads the following. Hi guys. I finally got some datura to try out. I'm free tomorrow and have the house to myself, so I'm really excited
Can I get
to try the
it?
effects
So it's
of
not
this
bath salts?
plant. I have around 60 seeds, some dried flowers and leaves. How much should I take for a nice first time trip? I was thinking of crushing up X seeds and making tea with them. Drink the tea and smoke a couple of leaves while the tea is starting to
Damn, this guy's got it figured out. What the
Would
fuck is
15
this?
seeds be enough?
Very classy.
Sources on the internet tell me a regular dose is around 10 to 20, but I've seen some talk about over 30 seeds. Thanks guys.
It's close to acid. Okay.
It could have
Not
permanent
close to acid at
lifelong
all.
effects and can
Okay. Before I continue, how about I just look it up? So that way I can be caught up on what the fuck this is. Chat has no idea, so I'm just gonna look it up. Because I've actually never heard of that, which is surprising because I know of like every big drug. This must not be a very popular one. It's a poisonous plant, also known as devil's trumpets. Devil's trumpets. Okay. That's pretty fucking wacky sounding. Yeah, it looks like it's a psychedelic.
cause death. A user named Rect recalled their prior experience with datura, claiming that they're still scarred from it, in hopes of deterring the OP from giving it a try. I bought 2 datura inoxia plants from a local
Thanks for some
greenhouse.
Cam Bam,
ate and smoked both of
GMB,
them
and
over
Krusty.
the course of about 2 weeks. I never noticed too many effects initially. Dry eyes and mouth, hot flush skin, rapid heartbeat, but I was 100% in a state of psychosis that whole time and for about 2 weeks after I stopped using it. Like someone here said, it's a deliriant, so I wasn't even aware of how totally fucked I was.
Wow.
My
Jesus
friends got
Christ.
increasingly worried about me, and I finally broke down mentally. About a month later, I got diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and severe panic disorder with derealization and depersonalization.
Why is he still in the drugs subreddit then?
While the effects felt by Rect were
Like,
severe,
he had this fucking awful experience and he's still in the same subreddit.
according to a Logarithm the Great, they claim that the potency of the drug can vary from person to person and even sometimes through the time of day it's taken.
Just to give advice? I guess, maybe.
After reading this, I went forth and cross-checked their claim with the psychedelic education resource named thethirdwave.co and found that while the time-of-day assertion isn't substantiated, Datura's so-called fatal dose ranges pretty widely. According to this guide,
Easy tier 1
a
frazzled
dose
and
as small
resubs
as
collect.
100 milligrams of dry seeds have been known to kill, while others have taken substantially more than that and lived. Considering how heavily any drug's effects can vary from person to person, this declaration isn't that surprising. However, it is noteworthy.
Sorry to hear that, Soul Leader.
So,
Oh,
how many
maybe
seeds
Pierre.
should Flip and Flop take?
Thanks for the bits, Mike and Crab.
Exactly 0. None. I hope this is a shitpost. Good luck and report back, please. Best effects will be achieved by doing none of it, I believe. Throw that f***ing hell in the garbage.
Wow, this is actually a pretty supportive subreddit.
Unanimous. Let's see how they took it.
Huh, not bad.
Update.
We did it, Reddit.
I've crushed some seeds, around 15 to 16, in my mortar and put them in a glass of water. I've added some lemon juice and sugar to mask the taste. I'll just have to roll my joint with the datura leaves, and I'll be set to go. I've decided I'll be sipping on the tea and slowly smoking the leaves until I feel the effect is strong enough. After this, commenters were questioning why they'd subject themselves to such a dangerous substance. They were wished good luck and were given advice for the phenomenon that they were about to experience. For Flip and Flop, it was the point of no return. The train left the station, and they were on a one-way track to the inevitable consequences.
They, turns out, transcended. Became this ascendant being. He can now shoot lightning bolts from his dick or something. He is
It was at this
Datura
point
now.
that commenters were tuned in.
Thanks for the gifts of Mike.
Everyone knew what was about to happen. However, hope for the best remained abundant. Remind me posts, well wishes, and questions on an update flooded the space. And, at least in that
Thanks for
moment,
the gifts of Bailey.
all eyes were on the OP. 5:55 in the morning,
Never even heard of that, Sentient.
April 18th of 2017.
Thanks for Prime Max. I give you the 10 though,
Google.com,
Sentient.
How normal again, stop now.
Oh, is it definitely like a shit post?
Needless to say, everyone's concerns were validated. However, it was good to know that the OP was still alive.
No, this is all a
The
stunt.
replies here were mostly well wishes, with a clear mood of apprehension. A user named Emilsko pled for the OP to reply to the thread when things became normal again, and another named Pest P gave their 2 cents on the matter as well. There unfortunately aren't any guarantees.
This feels very fake now.
5
I'll let it
58
ride,
in the
though.
evening. Nearly exactly 12 hours later.
He made a video game? Holy shit. He smoked so much
What you're looking at
datura
is
that he made a
GIF
game?
posted by a redditor named Nitris in the gaming subreddit. It's allegedly depicting mammoths in an accurate battle simulator. Yeah, they nailed that one.
Well, I mean that's
So
the
why are we here?
that's the joke.
Well,
Okay.
because someone we know very well by this point made their way to this space
Exhibits
specifically.
cuddle.
Please, these big
Jesus,
dogs are
Soul
fighting.
Eater.
Not okay.
Holy shit.
It appears to me that Flip and Flop's trying to claim that, please, these big dogs are fighting, not okay. With the big dogs, of course, being their interpretation of the mammoths in that GIF. If I'm
It's
being
awful,
honest,
Soul Eater.
it's safe to say that Flip and Flop's
Doing
discovery
alright,
of this
Solaris.
post likely didn't do them any favors. Depictions of an animal quite literally launching another one in the air while under the influence of something as unpredictable as datura would probably mess me up pretty badly.
I don't really believe any of this anymore. This just seems like a Redditor doing a
Flip and Flop
stunt.
would never return. Their thread continued to rack up comments pleading for any sort of update. However, through all of this, fear remained abundant that the worst had happened.
How does this go on for so much longer? How do you get like a conclusive answer to this?
Sadly, most of the search results surrounding the username Flip and Flop aren't useful. I was hoping to dig up accounts that they might
Thanks
have
to the big
migrated to
tier
on other
2.
websites, but
Malarian
it frustratingly didn't
Dictator?
obtain much.
Thanks to the big tier 2.
Scouring the surface web is an uphill battle. We can find a considerable amount of posts asking about him. However, concrete answers to that are non-existent. There was a flip and flop with 1P account I found that could have been a potential lead. However, considering that the last post they made was 8 years ago on the NoFap forum, it's needless
That
to
could be
say
him.
that I was only left with dead ends.
Well, I don't know about that.
Speaking of dead ends, the following is a list of accounts and their current status I found on other websites with the name Flip and Flop. Imager, dead. Facebook, dead.
Oh, I can feel shit coming on.
Dead. Photobucket, dead. Reddit, dead.
He threw some pyro.
Closemaster, doesn't work. Taringa.net, dead. Babyblog.ru.
What?
This is getting weird, but dead. I'm sure you get the picture by this point. The name is surprisingly common, and the results increase tenfold once you factor in the other spelling of Flip and Flop. Brute forcing our way into tracking this person down is only going to result in wasted time and a massive headache.
Maybe
so
really.
I'm going
Thanks
to
for
pause
the
my search here and pivot my focus towards the actual drug he took because my curiosity's peaked.
Does he
Datura?
take it?
How serious really is it? And is it actually as fatal as it's made out to be? To answer this, I made my way to a non-profit educational resource by the name of arrowit.org that specializes in providing information about various psychoactive plants and chemicals. In their entry about datura, they claim that it's a woody-stalked, leafy herb growing up to 2 meters.
It doesn't look
produces
like a
spiny
scary
seed
plant.
pods and large white or purple trumpet-shaped flowers that face upward. Most parts of the plant contain atropine, scopolamine, and hyoscyamine. It has a long history of use in both South America and Europe, and is known for causing delirious states and poisonings in uninformed users. This definition got me curious on the effects of atropine, scopolamine, and hyoscyamine, and so I dug a bit further. According to Arrowid, these are known as tropane alkaloids.
So is this whole video about a guy that likely overdosed?
Disorientation, confusion,
or is there like, I'll just let it
hallucinations,
ride.
delusions, panic, and more. Furthermore, the resource states that in this class of hallucinogens, namely,
I think it's still
are,
very
quote,
likely fake to begin
absolutely
with, but yeah.
convinced that the hallucinations and delusions are, in every sense, real, and may attempt to interact with them. This can range from amusing to dangerous. This almost leaves me to wonder what kind of experience Flip and Flop had.
This is a
since
gift
they can
sub Soul
vary pretty
Eater.
widely.
Looks the bits
As
num
we know
num.
by this point, an update from their aftermath is non-existent, and at this time, we have yet to gather a detailed, first-hand account about a datura trip. So what is it really like? A user on a website named steamit.com shared their story about 3 years ago. In their post, they claimed that they had taken about 8 dried seeds and were eager to experience the effects. After doing so, however, they were immediately met with extreme thirst, causing their, quote, mouth to dry up in a horribly scary way. The dose in which you get active effects is extremely close to the amount needed for a fatal overdose. Following this, they share
Kinsama's in
detail
prison? God damn it.
what it was they went through. After about an hour, I felt a weird mix of euphoria and dysphoria. It had a bizarre sense of fun to it, as reality and imagination blended to form one. It gave me a very trippy feeling, which was at the time chilling and scary. After quite a long time, maybe 2 hours, I felt poisoned as I can't remember how I acted or how I perceived the world.
I'm not
exactly.
really into this one, man.
Felt
If
like
there's
I was
only
dying,
2
honestly.
posts to go off of, there's
I
no
was quite a bit
conclusive
of a
answer.
response. Everything felt surreal, and I definitely had some weird
more just like a
hallucinations,
warning
which
against
at
it.
the time felt realistic and normal. Then the creature became outrageous.
Is that how it ends?
It almost seemed like too perfect of a storm. Like the perfect storm, about the fatal dose being incredibly close to the one in which you feel the effects, combined with the possibility that Flip and Flop didn't have anyone with him
Thanks,
to make sure
Richard
he was
Dog.
okay. It all seemed like the perfect storm of what not to do when trying out a substance for the first time. As a matter of fact, in some ways, it almost seemed... Here, I'll give you a hint.
Yeah, let me hear the hint.
The profile was created on April 17th, the very same day that their one and only post was made. Being entrenched in the world of internet mysteries, observations like this stand out to me like a sore thumb. It appears to me that this account was made for the sole reason of discussing their story about trying datura. While, sure, they potentially could be separating this from their personal accounts and life due to the taboo nature of something like this, it unfortunately discounts the validity of their entire account. Furthermore,
oh, he gets the same conclusion.
The profile for this post explains the lack of other social media or forum handles with the name Flip and Flop existing online. Without any sort of hint at their location, their main account, or their interests, tracking down the actual person and cross-checking a potential case record is impossible. Now, don't get me wrong here. While I'm entertaining the idea that this could be fabricated, the sequence of events that took place lend credence to this being real.
What?
If we look at the post, it was made at 5:21 p.m. Central on April 17th of 2017. Over the course of the next 26 minutes, Flip and Flop would go from asking about trying it to having it prepared. If we're considering the potential that their mind was made up on...
It's not a very interesting story, to be honest. It's a Redditor made one post, and then there's 2 posts to follow it up. I'm not real into that one. To me, that sounds more like a classic Reddit shitpost thing than like a genuine overdose. But even if it was, it's still a very unsatisfying story to follow, since you'll never know and there's no evidence to point to anything conclusive. Not really into that.
LSD, cocaine, and ecstasy are now just a click of a mouse away.
These are some milky.
Basically the eBay or the Amazon of the drug trafficking world.
He also allegedly hired a hitman to kill a White Rock, D.C. user.
Was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
Oh, it's a Silk Road story. Oh man, I'd actually completely forgot about that.
For roughly 1,500 years, the Eurasian trade routes that spanned over 4,000 miles played a central role in facilitating economic, cultural, political, and religious interaction between the East and the West. The name Silk Road comes from the highly lucrative trade of silk textiles that were produced almost exclusively in China. The sale of these highly sought-after goods is likely what led Ross Ulbricht or Dread Pirate Roberts to adopt the name for his darknet marketplace, though instead of silks, he would be facilitating the trade of every illegal.
How long has it been now since Silk Road?
On January 27th, 2011,
well, that was quick.
I came across this website called Silk Road. It's a Tor hidden service that claims to allow you to buy and sell anything online anonymously. I'm thinking of buying off it, but wanted to see if anyone here had heard of it and could recommend it. I found it through this link, which if you have a Tor browser, directs you to the real site. Let me know what you think. This is the first ever mention of Silk Road anywhere on the internet. The user Altoid acting very poorly as an intrigued third party with the intent of engaging in word-of-mouth marketing of his new venture. It would be unfair to say this actionable post was a breadcrumb that led the FBI to the eventual closure of the Silk Road. It was a whole loaf of bread. As explained by IRS Special Agent Gary Alford, the way you found the creator of the website was through a simple Google search. Despite the Silk Road being only accessible on Tor, the browser that gives users access to the dark web, Special Agent Alford knew it had to be marketed somewhere, or how would people find out about it? In 2013,
so that's what I talked about last time we were going over the Tor shit. Basically anything on the dark web. Like, how do you get the word out besides just on the dark web? And I don't remember what the conclusion we came up with was. Like, I get Silk Road because obviously posting forum posts like that, but look what happened there. They got fucked. There's tier 1 Trailith. Okay. So literally just from other dark web word of mouth. Okay.
He simply googled the word Silk Road and .onion and found exactly what he was looking for. He found Altoid. In posts that are still active on BitcoinTalk.com, he is seen advertising for an IT pro for a Bitcoin-backed startup company and lists an email to contact him, rossulbricht@gmail.com. His real name.
No.
Of course, looking for developers for your black market operation while using a Gmail account with your real life name is not the best way to go about things, and since Altoid was a name that popped up very frequently when searching for mentions of Silk Road, This was enough to get a warrant for that email address. Ross
Thanks, you
was
sub.
monitored until
Diabetes.
undercover agents tracked him to San
Emperor and Tier
Francisco
1
Public
Rogue.
Library, where they distracted him and grabbed his open computer. He was logged into the mastermind of the
Holy
Silk Road
shit.
website.
Oh my god. These numbers looking kind of beefy. Oh god damn it. I missed Light drawing the final blow there.
Losing that first game, but able to win 3 in
Easy monthly speedrun though. Good shit, Light. Let me send him a message. Damn, sorry. Quick message to Light saying congrats. It was good practice. Okay, now I'm back.
And in another tab, a
There's
full
Tier 1
diary
wild
dedicated to the
poos and
creation
the
of
recent
Silk
Wisteria
Road
and
with his
Gator bait.
name written in there. That is the story of how Ross Ulbricht was tracked and caught by using a simple Google search. During his trial in New York City, a 33-page document was brought to light with direct messages proving that Ross paid over $1 million in Bitcoin to hire Hells Angels bikers to murder 5 people.
Holy
and
shit.
That's going to be the rest of this video. First, I'm going to need to introduce you to a couple of the starting characters. Lucy Drop was a vendor who sold LSD on Silk Road, and his product was good. Eventually, though, he started selling weaker and weaker product before performing what people would consider an exit scam. Friendly Chemist is the first point of contact to Dread Pirate Roberts, who is Ross Ulbricht and the owner/creator of Silk Road. March 13th, 2013. Can you please get Dread Pirate Roberts to message me right away? It's very serious, a matter of life and death. Also has to do with the identities of a dozen top vendors and thousands of Silk Road customers. It's very important, so please get him to message me right away. I will not talk to anyone but Dread Pirate Roberts, so please do not ask me what this is.
What site is this? I might have missed it. What site is he posting this on? These are the 10 gift subs, Trey. Thank you for the generosity tonight. There's some Finrear and Charm. Oh, this is just directly on Silk Road? Can you still access all the Silk Road, like, forum posts? I figured I figured when it went down, all of it went down. Oh, just mirrors? Okay, so I guess just re-uploads of it. Alright. I assume that Kira was, like, literally looking at these recently. Okay, okay. Got it.
Exactly what he asked for. The next day, Ross replied simply, "What can I do for you?" A few hours later, Friendly Chemist claimed he was Lucy Drop's supplier, waiting for payment, which Lucy Drop had told him is being withheld by the Silk Road market, and therefore by Dread Pirate Roberts himself. He goes on to claim that he has put a keylogger on Lucy Drop's computer and can prove it with his login details. He gave $900,000 of product to Lucy Drop for $200,000 up front. He accused DPR, Silk Road, and Lucy Drop of working together to scam people, and he continued to threaten to release all the information about the Silk Road users if it wasn't for the fact that he would be paid $500,000. To this, Dread Pirate Roberts responded with the truth. He'd never spoken to Lucy Drop. He had no dealings with him in the first place. There was no deal. He wasn't scamming anybody, and instead suggested that Lucy Drop must be tricking him. This, however, did not convince Friendly Chemist. He doesn't believe there was no deal. His life was in danger from, quote, not regular people. He just needs to be paid as soon as possible, or he will release the customer information, which would drastically harm the Silk Road business. The vendor information would probably result in most of the top vendors for Silk Road being busted by the authorities. I will get in touch with Lucy Drop and get back to you. DPR wanted all the information he'd harvested from the keylogger so he could verify it, and clearly at this stage he was trying to verify whether or not Friendly Alchemist had damaging information, which he claimed to have, and how damaging it would be. Sizing up...
Hold on, Jesus is going by very quick. God damn. This is like that shit you'd see in a really bad B movie and just assume that it could never be real. Like, just the way he talks makes it seem super fake. When you think of, like, $900,000 worth of LSD being moved, you think of, like, someone, like, really like all together, really buttoned up and scary. And this guy's actually talking like a middle school girl here. She's wild. Thanks to the resub Frizzy.
How big of a threat he was to the whole
Thanks to
operation.
resub Ace.
4 minutes after
Hey, what's
he
going
sent
on,
his reply
Juicers?
to Friendly
Hey,
Chemist, he
Juicers.
also contacted Lucy Drop for the very first time. I've been contacted by a member named Friendly Chemist. He claims to know you and has done business with you in real life. He's making wild accusations and threats against you, me, and other members of the community. If you indeed know him, could you please provide me with his name and address? I'd like to stop him in his tracks by revealing that I know who he is and will retaliate if he does anything stupid. Please don't contact him if possible.
Signed,
I'd like
Heisenberg.
to handle it myself. Lucy Drop didn't reply. Friendly Chemist
the
replied to
resub
his
primer,
message
resub
asking
zombie.
for the keylogger information, stating that he didn't harvest the customer logs, but instead that Lucy Drop, like an idiot, kept in-depth logs of every single transaction he ever made. Thousands of orders, 20 or more vendor identities, 5,000 customer identities, and more. He included a long list of addresses from identities, 5,000 customer identities.
Damn, it's been so long since I learned about the Silk Road thing. I forgot that the site looked like this. Like, actually straight out of old Gears of War forums. That setup is like actual stock template. And they were moving millions worth of illegal shit. Crazy. They put no effort into the UI.
And more. He included a long list of addresses from around the world, which was redacted from the document, but did prove he did have what he said he did. DPR reassured him that he would get in touch once he'd heard back from Lucy Drop, which, of course, Friendly Chemist did not appreciate, since this gave him no clear timeline on when he would be getting the money he allegedly needed to pay off the people who was threatening his family. These people I borrowed money from have been asking me to meet with them and said they don't want to have to come and find me. I'm scared, and you don't seem to even care that you guys are scamming me and putting my life in danger. On March 16th, 2013...
You don't say. The
the
people peddling millions worth of drugs don't care about you?
For an undisclosed reason for the last
I'm
7
fucking
months,
shocked.
and his business partner had stolen his operation, cutting him out of the money and the account. This business partner was now allegedly posing as Lucy Drop and selling weak products or scamming using the reputation he had built up. In this message, he asked how to contact Dread Pirate Roberts. DPR immediately saw this and contacted the account. Hi there. How did this new person gain access to your account? To which the real Lucy Drop responded stating he didn't gain access as they were partners in real life and they started a Lucy Drop vendor together. He handled the account until he was picked up on a warrant for prior drug offences and affirming that Friendly Chemist was in fact their middleman for obtaining the product, and ends the message asking this question: how do you know Friendly Chemist? This, of course, is a mistake, the first mistake we see. DPR never mentioned Friendly Chemist to Real Lucy. The only time he mentioned Friendly Chemist was to an account that he allegedly no longer has access to, as it was stolen by his partner over half a year ago. At this stage, just to make sure we're all following along with the characters in the timeline, Lucy Drop is the vendor that allegedly was exit scamming and has not yet replied to anybody. Dread Pirate Roberts is the Silk Road admin who is being blackmailed by Friendly Chemist, who alleges he is Lucy Drop's plug and a middleman for some very dangerous people who he owes money to. Real Lucy Drop claims he's the original owner of the Lucy Drop account and he's just been released from prison. DPR now responds to Real Lucy Drop stating he's being blackmailed by Friendly Chemist and that he's glad he knows him. He wanted the address.
Ooh, he didn't pick up on that?
Anything he could provide. I need his real world identity so I can threaten him with violence if he were to release any names. I can't let him release those IDs. Real Lucy Drop was of course not keen on this idea. I don't know how I feel about that solution. Remember that he also knows my real world identity and has evidence on me as well. I'm sure you are well aware of what would happen to me if my information was to be released. He would instead set up a meeting and try to reason.
Damn it, I want to read the rest of that. I fucking hate what money does to people. I mean, isn't the whole thing about money? I think he's going a little too hard on the theatrics there. Thanks to the resub Grego and the Prime Lieutenant. No, I just showered. My hair's not greasy.
If my
I just got out of the
information was to be
shower.
released, he would instead set up a meeting and try to reason with Friendly Chemist, to which DPR responds simply, "Okay, Lucy, do me proud." Real Lucy Drop came back a day later with a lot of information, essentially reaffirming that Friendly Chemist would release the information as the people he was dealing with were not playing around. The people he borrowed the product from are a big criminal organization in Canada, the Hells Angels. A plan was presented. The plan involved DPR paying Friendly Chemist what he owed this gang, and in return he would provide drugs to be sold to pay back the loan. Friendly Chemist would also give up his identity as collateral in case DPR was worried of his payment being received
Jesus
and still releasing the
Christ.
documents damaging the Silk Road market. DPR, of course, didn't like this plan. "Give me his identity so I will have leverage in dealing with him. You said you don't know what to do, so let me take over and give me all the info you have so I have the best chance of diffusing this situation."
Executive
Real
JC and
Drop was
Pandemonium.
not convinced by this. "Yes, I do know his identity, but you threatening him will not help the situation. He's deathly afraid of the people he owes money to, and they already know where he lives and where his kids go to school, etc." He was not going to give up the information on Friendly Chemist, not due to the risk of his so-called supplier, but because he was afraid he would turn witness if he got spooked and turn in information about himself, resulting in him going to prison. "Do not bother messaging me again if the message does not contain his personal information. I'm not fronting money to anyone, and I won't be blackmailed. You don't know how to handle this situation, but I do." Dread Pirate Robert's response was final, and this finality seemed to have gotten through to Real
Damn, this
Lucy.
guy's kind of hard.
"If you really think you have a good idea to deal with him, I'll give you the information you want about his identity. Please understand why I'm hesitant, as it is my freedom we're dealing with." He then asked how to send over the ID with plain text or
Thanks, Yusuf Levi.
PGP, which is an encryption service commonly used on the darknet. DPR then immediately went back to Friendly Chemist. "Have your suppliers contact me here so I can work something out with them. Do not tell them I owe you money. You should copy-paste this message to them." At the same time, he sent a PGP key over to Real Lucy Drop so he could send him over the encrypted ID, which is exactly what Real Lucy Drop did. The information that was sent, however, was not complete. It didn't have a full
What was
address.
that last
It
bit?
did.
Have
The
any job
information that was
openings?
sent, however...
What? Damn, this guy's on the grind. Alright. Okay then. Man's being hunted by the Hells Angels and then just takes a second like, "Hey bro, like, can I work for you? Like, what's up with that?"
was not complete. It didn't have a full address, as DPR responded asking again for his exact address. At this point in the story, on March 25th, 12 days after the first private message interactions from Friendly Chemist and DPR, a new user is introduced, Red and White, and this is where it starts to get real crazy. The first message reads, "I was asked to contact you. We are the people Friendly Chemist owes money to. We hold
God.
him and him only responsible for the missing product or money." He was apparently only getting in touch to find out what exactly DPR wanted. DPR, of course, wanted to clarify the whole situation. He himself didn't owe anyone any money, but was instead being blackmailed by Friendly Chemist. "I'm not entirely sure what the best action to take is, but I wanted to be in communication with you to see if we can come to a conclusion that works for everyone." At this point, DPR propositions Red and White. "You have lots of product, why not sell it on our marketplace?" Red and White, of course, was intrigued by this. "How much is it possible to sell on here if we listed every product far cheaper than everyone else? We have a majority hold over most of the movement of products in Western Canada." He also touches on the Friendly Chemist situation, how Friendly Chemist will not meet up with them due to fear of what they may do to him, how the gang might not want to sell on silk with their Western Canada.
We're just gonna
He
gloss
also
over that
touches on
bottom
the Friendly
part.
Chemist situation.
I wanted to read this. Jesus Christ. Holy shit.
How Friendly Chemist will not meet up with them due to fear of what they may do to him, how the gang might not want to sell on Silk Road due to this missing $700,000. If you can get Friendly Chemist to meet up with us or pay us his debt, then I'm sure I would be able to get people in our group to give this online side of business a try. After this message, DPR contacted Real Lucy Drop again, clearly desperate to get the full address of Friendly Chemist now that he has this fantastic offer from Red and White. Why haven't you gotten the address yet? Bring me the address and $1,000 in Bitcoin is yours. He also responded back to Red and White. In my eyes, Friendly Chemist is a liability, and I wouldn't mind if he was executed, but then you'd be out your 700k. Accompanying this blunt opening, he also gave up information he gained from Real Lucy Drop, the full name, age, rough address location, as well as the fact that Friendly Chemist has a wife and 3 kids. The rest of the message is information on how much money they could make from selling product on the Silk Road website. Red and White, however, no longer needed that information. He already knew who Friendly Chemist was, and he also has another prize. We have kidnapped Friendly Chemist partner Jin, and are on the hunt for Friendly Chemist. This news was exciting to DPR. I understand, and that is great news about Jin. If I understand the situation, he's the one responsible for your loss. Now, to take a quick break and clarify on the roles.
Jesus Christ, I don't remember any of this from the last time I learned about Silk Road.
Lucy Drop, the partner of Real Lucy Drop, who allegedly stole his business and used his reputation to scam. Jin would then be responsible for selling the product from Friendly Chemist and therefore owing him the $700,000 that he would need to pay back to Red and White. However, at this point, Red and White clarifies that they are no longer missing any product. There is no loss anymore also. We were able to recover all of our missing product when we grabbed Jin. After some questioning, he admitted he was intending on moving to a different country and setting up a new seller account on this site. We don't take too kindly to thieves. He's gone. This is when Friendly Chemist started to ramp up his pressure. He knows now that his partner has been taken out and he's panicking big time. You leave me no choice. I want 500,000 USD within 72 hours, or I'm going to post all the info I have. I can't go back to my home.
Real quick, I guess this may be like spoilers going forward. So when Silk Road went down, all of this went into the hands of authorities, clearly. Was that confirmed to be real? Like, that actually happened? They actually did take out that guy's partner? Because I imagine with that Silk Road coming down, all of the information got into their hands. It is spoilers? Okay, so he does touch on it. Okay, sorry. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I haven't watched the Silk Road shit in a while, and I don't remember any of this from when I did learn about it. Thanks for 5 gift subs, Meef. Appreciate it, man. And the 10 gift subs socks. Jesus Christ. Thank you again, man. The resub seashells.
And I've had to move my wife and kids somewhere else, and
I guess, hold on, before we continue, I'm gonna throw out a theory. I think this is all one big play to try and squeak money out of DPR. That's my guess. Don't tell me if I'm right or wrong, but that's just the impression I get, because it seems like you can make multiple accounts on here without any kind of like real verification process, obviously. So I'm thinking this is all like one big ploy to get like 500k from DPR. And it's all orchestrated by 1 or 2 people, something like that, maybe.
Need the money so I can move my family and start a new life. What's it going to be? DPR tries to calm him down. Don't do anything foolish. The people you owe money to have caught up with Jin and reclaimed their losses. I spoke to them and calmed them down. They are likely going to become vendors here on SR. Now you can calm down too. Go back to your normal life and don't get involved in this stuff anymore. This did not have the intended effect at all. You think I don't know what they did to Jin? You think I can just go on with my life? You don't know these people. I owed them money and I ran away from them. It's over for me. He doubled down on the threat, though of course now stating that he only had 63.
Let me see.
Hours remaining. 63 hours to pay the $500,000 or risk having the identities of over 5,000 Silk Road users exposed for buying illegal drugs and services, decimating a large chunk of DPR's business, and exposing dozens of vendors that would also destroy the site's product supply. DPR's response to this threat was strangely calm. Do me a favor and make it 96 hours. I will get back to you on Monday. I want to work this out, but I have big plans for this weekend and I don't want to have to deal with this. This wasn't a lie. He did have big plans. though they were plans that Friendly Chemist would definitely not be enjoying. As soon as this message was sent to Friendly Chemist, stalling for time, DPR immediately reached out to Red and White. This is where his weekend's big plans would be revealed. I hate to come to you with a problem when we are just starting to get to know one another, but Blake, Friendly Chemist, is causing me problems. Are you still looking for him, or now that you found Jin, have you given up? I would like to put a bounty on his head if it's not too much trouble for you. What would be an adequate amount to motivate you to find him? Necessities like this do happen from time to time for a person in my position. I have others I can turn to, but it is always good to have options.
Jesus Christ.
Hopefully this is something you are open to and can be another aspect of our business relationship. Regards, DPR. Red and White was open to facilitating this transaction, though there is no firm price listed as of yet. He describes how they usually handle hits. They're not looking for him anymore for their own reasons, but they could be motivated financially to find him if they could agree upon terms. DPR responded to this with what might be viewed as a slight change of mind on the hit. If you can find his location, that may be enough for me to scare him off. He's trying to blackmail me. Just let me know what you need to make this worth your while. Red and White, however, nudged him slightly with some common sense. If I find his location and you use it against him to scare him, there is a chance he will switch locations again.
Speaking from Turtle God and Nameless
it will
King
become a
and
lot more
Wolf.
difficult to find him again after that, once he knows that there are people capable of finding him. He then goes on to feel out how much DPR would be willing to pay. How much was ending this man's life worth to him? DPR clarifies the reason for wanting to make him disappear forever. He doesn't owe me anything, but he is threatening to expose the identities of thousands of my clients that he was able to acquire working with Jin if I don't pay him off. As you don't take kindly to thieves, this kind of behavior is unforgivable to me, especially here on Silk Road. Anonymity is sacrosanct. It doesn't have to be clean. Red and White now listed the price. It was expensive. Price for clean is 300,000 plus USD. Price for non-clean is 150 to 200,000 USD, depending on how you want it done. These prices pay for 2 professional hitters, including their travel expenses and work they put in. We can use out-of-town hitters if you want as well, but I would not suggest them because they come with an extra cost, and you don't seem to care how he's taken care of. When would you like this done? DPR, of course, was not a fan of the price. He also revealed this is not his first rodeo. Don't want to be a pain here, but the price seems high. Not long ago I had a clean hit done for $80,000 US. Are the prices you quoted the best you can do? I would like this done ASAP, as he's talking about releasing the info on Monday. Red and White now knew that he was in the ultimate power.
This seems like it's a setup.
There's a strict deadline.
I think this might be like a
vanish within
who would work
the next
like
24
DEA
hours.
maybe,
and that means it's unlikely DPR would be able to find another hitter in time for less money, especially since Red and White is the one who knows.
I mean, they're just
the
talking via
location of Friendly
DMs on a
Chemist
fucking
already.
forum
I'm
site.
sorry, but we
So
can't do anything for that
it
price.
really could be like
Best I
DEA
can do is
maybe?
150, and even that is pushing it. Since you need a rush job done, usually we would charge even more. In the interest of business relationship to be, I could do
Is there some
150,
hydrogen and
no
subliminal?
lower. If 150 does not work for you, we're gonna have to pass. He follows up with some information on how this money is distributed, the methods they use for the hits, and then replies again right after to move things along due to the deadline. The time for negotiating was over. He left this message with both a Bitcoin address and finality. I will check the computer in about 10 hours, and if I see that you do want to go ahead with this and the payment has been sent, we'll do it today. If you want a picture confirmation of the job afterwards, give me random numbers and I'll have them write them besides him and take a picture for you. DPR responded the same day with confirmation. Thank you, R&W. I've only ever commissioned the one other hit, so I'm still learning this market. I have no problem putting my faith in you, and I'm sure you will do a good job. The exchange rate is above 90 right now, so at $90 per Bitcoin, 150,000
Wow. Remember when
is
Bitcoin
about
was 90 bucks?
1,670 Bitcoin.
Holy
if the market
shit.
tanks in the next few days, I will send more. Here are some random numbers for a picture. Here is the transaction hash for 1,670 Bitcoin to your address. Good luck and be safe. The blockchain doesn't lie. He did send exactly this amount of Bitcoin on this exact date to that exact address. This is clear evidence of Dread Pirate Roberts hiring a hitman to kill Friendly Chemist, a result of a blackmail that would expose his customers and ruin his market's credibility. He would clearly do anything to keep Silk Road working as he envisioned. Red and White replied a day
Hold on,
later.
give me one sec. Let me just check. Moki's not playing yet, is he? Not yet. Okay. Just needed to check. I don't want to miss it.
On April 1st, 2013,
Thanks to Tier
your
1 Poop
problem
Scoop and the
has
Prime
been taken
Willy
care
and
of.
Wheels.
They seized a bunch of stuff he had with him at the time as well. They said he had a couple of laptops and a bunch of USB sticks. Is there anything that belongs to you? They questioned him and he spilled everything he knew. He said that he and Jin were actually working together on this scheme to blackmail you, and that they were brought in by a third guy who has been selling on here for a couple of years, who is also a scam artist. Apparently he makes selling accounts, sells for a while, and then pulls a big scam and just keeps creating new accounts after he does his scams. They got that guy's name also. I will give that to you free of charge when I meet them to get the picture and computer hardware they got. Rest easy though, because he won't be blackmailing anyone again, ever. DPR kept things professional in his response, but he was clearly happy the job was done.
This is
and
like
also
actual
shows
Breaking
interest in
Bad
learning
shit.
more about this third party. Excellent work. Please send any info you can on this third party along with a picture. The picture can be uploaded here. I've no need for any of his possessions, so you can do what you want with that stuff. Thank you again for your assistance. Red and White replied the next day with a long message explaining exactly what Friendly Chemist spilled in his last moments of interrogation. He goes over how Jin and Friendly Chemist were working with a man named Andrew from Surrey. He was defrauding people in the way we previously covered, essentially making accounts, getting a good reputation, selling great products with above and beyond service, and then after luring people into a false sense of security, would do one big sale and exit scam all the money. He listed 2 accounts he knows the name of other than Lucy Drop, which were used by this group: Nipple Suck Canuck and Tony
What a name.
76,
What a
seller
name.
that many people on the Silk Road forums had long since speculated was...
I totally forgot they actually just on Reddit had a Silk Road subreddit. I totally fucking forgot about that. Holy shit, yeah. The internet was wild and wacky like 10 years ago. Thanks to the Prime Luke and the resub Lunatic. RIP Darknet Markets. Yeah, shit was crazy.
Actually Lucy Drop, due to their similarities of writing patterns, method of scam, and location being Canada. The puzzle was starting to fit together and the picture was clear. This group was orchestrating scams for years now, stealing thousands of Bitcoin and damaging DPR's vision for the Silk Road, and he couldn't let them get away with it. After some short back and forth about stripping location data from a picture so they could upload proof of the hit on Friendly Chemist, the wheels start to turn for the second murder for hire that DPR would put out on the accomplice. If you can find him, I would like to know. He also confirms he received the picture of Friendly Chemist with the numbers next to him after the hit took place, and that he had deleted the picture for safety.
Okay,
he
I was wrong
wanted
then.
to take out Andrew, the
I thought it was
accomplice,
DEA.
But he also wanted to make sure Friendly
It
Chemist
wasn't.
was telling
That man
the
just
truth.
got fucking
I'd rather
blasted,
miss
I
the
guess.
chance to take him out than hit an innocent person. He also wanted Andrew to be held and interrogated. The idea being, if this was the remaining member of the group defrauding his customers, he would have substantial funds that may be retrievable. Red and White, of course, was open to this and sets about the job. I will send 2 of my guys to do some recon right now and find out what I can about him and get back to you immediately. We can discuss price later once we know more. PR seemed conflicted about potentially having the wrong man, but at the same time was way more interested in the potential of recovering tens of thousands of stolen Bitcoin. He's likely to be sitting on many thousands of stolen Bitcoin, perhaps tens of thousands, so I would think we'd want to work him over to get those funds back.
Thanks to Tier 1 Lady
Red and White
Scorpion.
returned later that day with the recon. Apparently the supplier of illicit products that Andrew was using had rolled on him, giving up what he ordered, the frequency of the orders, and his plans to move out of the province very soon. That might be because he's found out about Jin and Friendly Chemist and is now scared. The rest of this message retells the information they got from interrogating Friendly Chemist in more detail and how all the information lined up. He also stated that after finding where Andrew was staying, he had 3 other people in the house with him for a total of 4 in the building. The people were also in on the scheme. They were selling product with Andrew, aka Tony76. The reason these 3 people being in the building and working with him is critically important to the story is that Red and White also talked about a potential 15,000 Bitcoin theft in this message. This means that somewhere in that building with these 4 people, one of which he knows DPR already wants to have removed from life, could be over 20,000 Bitcoin, which at the time would be worth around $2 million. The message ends, do you want to deal with this Andrew guy, or do you want me to put the team on standby? DPR was led to this conclusion like a horse to water, and he started to drink. I'm confident enough that is him to move forward. Can we round up all 4 of them, separate them, and get them to out each other and give up their stolen money? He then explains how it could be difficult to recover the Bitcoin if the team of hitters are not familiar with how Bitcoin works, and that he would need more information to piece together how much this crew could have actually stolen. Red and White explained that this would be very difficult. He could pull it off, but it would require more hitters, and there are no discounts for group jobs. In fact, due to the difficulty, it should go up in price. However, since the working relationship was going good so far, he would do it for $150,000 each. $600,000 total for all 4 of them to be interrogated and then removed from this mortal realm. DPR, however, wasn't hot on this idea. Not on the idea of removing them from life.
Yeah, I've got it up
on
right
the
here
idea
from
it would
Oki.
cost him
It's just he's not playing yet.
$600,000. Clearly the dollar sign was the issue, so it was back to the original plan. Okay, let's just hit Andrew and leave it at that. Try to recover the funds, but if not, then not. How much do you need for this? Red and White, however, hadn't given up on this idea. If you want to hit Andrew only, I can have it done for 150 just like last time. We wouldn't be able to do it at their place though, because there are always at least a few of them there from what I'm told, since it is their home office. So we wouldn't be able to recover any of his things. He goes on to give his opinion on the situation and how if these other 3 were left to continue their scams, they would continue to cause issues with DPR and Silk Road. He also offers a discount for the whole package. If you would like to do the others as well, I would be able to have it done for 500,000 USD. If you do not want all of them and just Andrew, it would be 150k. I would prefer to do all 4 as it would be better than having to get Andrew somewhere else and have no chance of recovering any potential product / money he may have. Anything recovered would be split 50-50 with you. This message ends with a prompt for payment. If you would like just Andrew done, send 150,000 USD to the same address you sent the other funds to. If you would like all 4 of them done and product / money recovered from there, send 500,000 USD to the same address you sent the other funds to. This was enough to convince DPR. Okay, I'll defer to your better judgment and hope we can recover some assets from them. 500,000 in Bitcoin has been sent.
This really feels... I still think this could be like a DEA thing.
He listed the transaction hash, and once again, this transaction is publicly verifiable. On April 8th, 2013, DPR sent 3,000 Bitcoin.
But then they did take like a picture or something, so maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm on copium.
He previously sent 150,000 for the murder of Blake, aka Friendly Chemist. 3 days later, on April 11th, Red and White messaged DPR to update him on the status of the job. Our hitters have been watching their house and we have a 1-week window to do it. But I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions before giving them the green light. At this point, he talks about the fluctuating price of Bitcoin and how before they could convert them to real money, the price dumped to 61 USD each. Essentially, he wanted paying more Bitcoin to cover this fluctuation so they were not massively shortchanged on the job.
Bitcoin will never last.
DPR replied letting him know he would be willing to cover the difference, and then there is a 3-day lull in communication before Red and White gets back in touch. That problem was dealt with. I'll try to catch you online to give you details, just wanted to let you know right away so you have one less thing to worry about. Beyond this, the communication fizzles out very quickly, and this is where the story ends. The story of Ross Ulbricht, aka Dread Pirate Roberts,
they kind of glossed over that.
Absolutely crazy. At the start of this video, I mentioned 6 murders for hire, and you may have noticed that we only discussed 5 so far, the 4 people in the house and Friendly Chemist. That's because the 6th murder for hire, the one that DPR claimed to have paid $80,000 for, is a different story altogether, and never actually happened. He had in fact purchased this murder for hire from an undercover DEA agent, and it was aimed at a former Silk Road staffer. Now what if I was to tell you that the other 5 murders for hire, the ones we've just went over, none of those happened either?
Fucking called it, I knew it.
The trial of Ross Ulbricht,
DEA.
where these private messages were first presented, no one by any of the names ever existed. He had been scammed, though he likely never knew this was the case until we did. Him and Red and White, the supposed Hells Angels contact who had helped him get rid of 5 people for $650,000 in Bitcoin, continued to speak using an untraceable method of instant chat. But remembering back to the start of this video, Ross kept a detailed diary of the Silk Road's creation and operation, which the federal government gained access to when they seized his laptop. In that diary, he writes that he loaned out $500,000 after this period to Red and White to stop.
Yeah, it wasn't the
vending on
DEA,
Silk
I guess,
Road,
but
and then later writes that Red
what
and
about the
White
picture?
flaked out and disappeared with my $500,000. This means that Ross paid out $1.15 million in Bitcoin to someone who tricked him using multiple accounts, essentially creating an elaborate fanfiction. And honestly, it was a brilliant fanfiction. It used the fact that many users drew links between Tony76 and Lucy Drop due to their
Oh
location
my
being
God.
similar, very similar writing styles and methods of exit scamming, and then he introduced enough real-world elements while keeping the pressure on after discovering the primary motivations of DPR. As soon as he knew that DPR would do anything he could to protect the Silk Road marketplace, he could just constantly introduce threats and also solutions.
Holy
Ross was
shit.
never charged for these 5 murders for hire that never happened, despite the Bitcoin he sent to Red and White being verifiably from his very own personal Bitcoin wallet. He did, however, get charged on 7 counts related to drug trafficking, money laundering and computer hacking, and for this, Ross Ulbricht received 30 years to life in prison, which is where he remains today. As for the money in today's market, the total that Ross was scammed out of was 7,225
God, that's
Bitcoin,
so much.
which on the 10th of April 2022 would be worth $308 million.
What a scam.
As for the scammer, during a later investigation, Bitcoins traded from Red and White's account lined up with another seller on Silk Road named Mary Jane Is My Muse, both of which were registered on a Canadian Bitcoin exchange that had the name James Ellingson. The Silk Road is the source of many insane stories, but this one for me definitely wins the prize.
Yeah, I never heard this one. Alright, so it wasn't the DEA, but I did fucking call it at least to some degree. What a genius fanfic scheme. Holy lord. What's the link to this vid? Here, it's on Kira's channel. Kira makes bangers. You probably recognize Kira from when he was covering a lot of like the crypto scam stuff. Thanks to resubred and stainless steel. Wikipedia says it was the FBI and Interpol. Well, no, they just confirmed that the person that was doing the fanfic was just like an actual scammer. What he said is that the hit that he said was a clean 80K hit was a setup from the DEA, and that wasn't real. But in this video, Kira said that the actual like sending of Bitcoin to that wallet went to a scammer. The actual sentence was 2 life sentences plus 30 years. Yeah, it sounds about right. Thanks to Prime Cheese. What about the pic? That's what I keep wondering. They sent a pic with numbers, and the pic isn't public, obviously, but DPR confirmed the authenticity of it, right? Like, he had to have known. So what did the DEA just, like, murder an innocent person? Like, just for the sake of getting this guy? Like, ends justify the means. Or, whatever. You know what I'm saying. They staged it? Yeah, I guess it could have been like a shitty pick. I don't know. I guess I'm just used to like 2022 pictures where you can really tell if someone's like faking a death, I think, right? Like, I don't know how accurately you could pull that off. They stage pics for things like that a lot, do they? Maybe I'm just not knowledgeable enough on it. There's a Prime Star Wars. They faked the moon landing, so... Yeah, true. Yeah. Moon landing wasn't real. Nothing's real. Thanks to get some Trey and the Prime Kins. Today's the 23rd anniversary of The Mummy. Is it really? Godspeed to an amazing movie. Amazing franchise, really. I'm so excited for tomorrow too, Dong. I can't wait. Today was great. If you're in the chat, Kira, good shit again. This video was a banger. Marco repairs my VCR collection. I actually think I still have my VCR collection from when I was a kid. And by mine, I mean my parents. What am I looking for? Or VHS, not VCR, VHS, sorry.
Come to watch my home video collections, recorder and player systems, VHS machine.
Wow.
That is my videotape recorder. That is, oh, I like that. But that Philips is not good.
Alright, I'll take your word for it. It's probably fine though.
Not good, but that is better. Salora, three cobbles.
These things are giant, pretty fucking big.
Finnish mark.
Okay, that's probably enough VCRs, I think, but very impressive collection. Crazy dude swallows earbuds. Oh, it's Shoe Nice. Shoe Nice has got a pretty sad story. Well, I don't know if sad's necessarily the right word. Shoe Nice has got a story. It's not like a really good one. You play Madden, right? Yeah, I mean, you know me and Madden. I do love my football. Do a collab with Snoop. Yeah. Was that the offer, S-Fan? Is Snoop Dogg wanting you to play Madden, but you're not a huge fan? Passing it off to me? Earth's Most Wanted Hacker. Pretty interesting title.
A storm is brewing in South Dakota.
Sorry to get that. Southwest 1772 right.
And it's moving swiftly into Minnesota, bringing with it rain.
Thank you for that, By the Stone. I appreciate that.
Thunder, and wind. A mass exodus is taking place from one social media website to another.
MySpace, that's that good
There's still
shit.
some survivors left behind.
Oh, anyone remember MySpace music? Bangers like Broken Side? Do we have any old MySpace veterans in here? Anyone remember these guys? Because this was the shit. I even made a Gears of War montage to the Get Crunk song. Yeah, this was popular music back in the day. But I think the one most people remember him for is this music video. They just don't make music like this anymore. I was actually thinking about them the other day. They made music all the way up until like 2019, if you can believe that.
They're prompted to install a video player update. This unsuspecting computer is now a zombie.
You are watching Disrupt TV.
Congratulations, you won. Congratulations, you won. Congratulations.
Yes.
An antivirus company announces a discovery.
Is it McAfee? God rest his soul.
Typically, URLs are hosted on a single web server through a single internet protocol address. If one is found to be malicious, it's fairly easy to chop it down from the root by blocking the IP. But these URLs are utilizing a tactic known as fast flux. In a fast flux network, the IP address of the domain name is constantly switched out, making it near impossible to find the core of the infection. We see variants appearing that are created from the original MySpace exploit.
Skype is literally a Microsoft malware.
Targets Twitter.
I hate Skype. Shit's garbage. Always has been.
Makes its way onto the Macintosh ecosystem. An ordinary website.
No, not video games.
Download files from
oh my god.
Kubeface covers the otherwise safe download button with an HTML iframe. This sends a PDF file to the user that, when opened, scans the computer. It's searching for a file transfer protocol. If found, it will send out a message to the other bots, who will subsequently use the exploited username and password to make a new home within its victim.
Damn. What an asshole.
Each newly infected host, the botnet grows larger, creating a decentralized, untraceable network that churns left, churns right, goes up, and goes down on the whim of whoever has the steering wheel.
Oh my god! What? Is this a custom animation? And is this... Such high production.
It's 1997.
I haven't seen Lighthouse yet, no.
And the most popular
Not yet.
website in the world is
Yahoo Answers.
At 7 p.m. on Monday, December 8th, Yahoo is hijacked. The message reveals that the computer of every single person who's visited Yahoo in the past month has been infected with a worm. And on Christmas Day, in less than 3 weeks, the bomb will detonate and destroy millions of contaminated computer systems unless the hijackers' one demand is met. Anger erupts.
Who the fuck is
and
Kevin?
The following days, protests
Let him out.
break out on the streets across the United States. They set up camp outside federal courthouses, and from New York to California, people call into radio stations to cry out the phrase in real life and in video
Do you
games.
have anything else to say?
Yeah. Free Kevin!
So was the hacker just a memer? I'm guessing that's the conclusion. I'm not watching the Walton Files. That shit is not for me. It's just Five Nights at Freddy's fanfic.
Kevin isn't a terrorist. He isn't a mafia boss, and he's not here because he wiretapped the NSA or blackmailed FBI agents. Authorities say he poses an even greater danger. Because with a single phone call, they say, he can dial into the NORAD and access the nuclear arsenal of the United States of America.
The event of nuclear weapons changed
That's a huge
the world.
oversight.
Kevin might only be an
Then
innocent prankster. Or Kevin could be the world's most dangerous cyber terrorist. A man who has North America at his fingertips. To free or not to free? That is the question.
I say let him out. Call his bluff. And if he's not
Is a
bluffing, well,
Windows
it
registry
is what it is.
key. And this is that same Windows registry key modified by Kubeface, YouTube, Wikipedia, PayPal, all resolved to IP addresses employed by the Command and Control Center. This is how the Kube makes its money. When that user clicked the link, Kubeface instantly shot his browser through a number of affiliate advertising networks.
Very smart.
Instead of the machine sending HTTP GET to Google, as it normally does, an infected machine sends HTTP GET to Kubeface, who responds with a list of affiliated links. It's only after receiving those links that the machine correctly sends HTTP GET to Google, who then returns with the legit results. The first result corresponds to the first affiliate link, and when clicked, for just a brief moment, an advertisement. After that process, the used affiliate link is scrubbed, and a new one takes its place. These systems may offer
I
$2
don't
per
get it.
1,000 users that click the affiliate link. Multiply that by hundreds of thousands of infected bots across the planet, clicking links all day. and at
Where
this
would they
point,
get the
Kubeface's
affiliate
command
links,
and
though?
control
They'd
center
have
is
to be in
passively pulling in.
contact with the companies, right?
Similar to the Google search, a response is sent to Kube's Command and Control Center. It responds with a list of antivirus software downloads, picks one, and displays it on the desktop. After the user pays, their PC remains infected, and Command and Control
Damn it.
gets a paycheck.
I've been scammed.
We live in a world of bots.
Toolbars really were awful.
I'm a unicorn.
Cleverbot's
In the
fucking
beginning,
great.
Kubeface uses a small portion of manually created accounts to spread initially. Completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart.
I had no idea
Normally,
that's what
CAPTCHA
it
would be
is.
a
That
brick
actually
wall
what it
for an
stands
amateur
for?
bot program, but Kubeface has found a clever workaround. First, it sends the following command to Facebook. The login and password are encoded via an encrypted scheme that involves reading the letters, their corresponding AC values, and comparing that to a successive string of numbers
Basically gives
from
sub
0
username.
to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to... Encrypted becomes unencrypted. Next, the site will ask for CAPTCHA. To circumvent this, the CAPTCHA
This is my
puzzle
biggest
mirrored to the
complaint
desktop
about
of
Disrupt.
any individual.
They tell like 10 different stories without ever connecting them.
Two things happen.
So this has nothing to
Screen
do
is
with Kevin
unlocked,
now, right?
And the CAPTCHA for the new minion is complete.
I hate it.
Coopface deploys
It feels so fucking disjointed, and it makes it so hard to follow the story. No, it never came into play last time. It was literally 2 separate stories last time. Let's do some Dustin and the Prime becoming
The
name.
unraveling of Coopface is delivered through the very same websites it previously exploited. An Apache HTTP client is used to control files to and from a web server. Their names are cross-referenced with their respective social media accounts. And here, they posted their vacation pictures publicly. Facebook doxes their full names and pictures. They are dubbed Alibaba and 4. And now, in a rather anticlimactic peak, the Coopface command and control centers simply go offline.
Okay, we got him, I guess.
From that point on to our current day and age, Coopface's original command and control center has never been reactivated. Alibaba and 4 are off the grid. And the zombie army remains dormant.
Something like 24 people show up, each one almost as much of a nerd as the worst of a ham radio enthusiast. A folder on the wall holds up sheets of paper listing dial-up numbers for every wire center in Southern California. Armed with this list and login credentials, I'd have the ability to control any phone line in Pacific Telephone's Southern California service area.
Hello.
I tell the guys, let's take the manuals to a copy shop, run off a copy for each of us, then return the manuals before people start coming back to work in the morning. It was the most stupid decision of my early life. We drive around looking for a copy shop but can't find one. It's 2 a.m. So I take the manuals home with me. But I have a bad feeling about them. So I throw it all in some trash bags and give them to my accomplice. Tell him
So, but why? Why? Like, what was all this for?
An unknown teenager has hacked a new network known as NORAD. It's an organization that provides aerospace warning and protection for North America. And this kid infiltrated the system just to have a look around. The move is so bold that it inspires the film War Games.
Oh, really? That's actually pretty cool.
Journalist John Markoff gets in touch with Kevin.
I love War Games. I used to love that movie.
On hackers named Cyberpunk.
Game sucks.
He's gained a reputation as a master of social engineering, but he's not interested in the money on offer. He wants to maintain a low profile, so he refuses to be.
Yeah, I understand this is Kevin now, but why?
Of John Markoff.
Like, I don't understand at all. And what does this have to do with Coopface?
Kevin pulls out of the Stephen S. Wise Temple, where he works as a receptionist. In his rearview mirror, he thinks he sees a group of 3 men following him in a Ford Crown Victoria. He pulls a U-turn, and sure enough, they do the same. Kevin speeds down the I-405, and the car races after him. Suddenly, one of the men places a cop car flasher on the roof of the car, and now the sirens are crying out. Kevin pulls over. The officers rush up. They scream. Kevin is dragged out, handcuffed. His car is ransacked, but there's no signs of any bomb.
You're not gonna find it!
By now, he's a veteran in deception. The judge agrees and orders that Kevin serve his sentence in a halfway house for those with compulsive disorder.
Oh, he's hacking the court
Kevin
system.
laughs as he's listening to the ruling. He was arrested for tricking his way into a computer system, and now he deceives the judge into thinking that he's the victim of his own crimes. An idea appears. If he gets caught, he'll be sent to jail, but if he doesn't, then he'd have fooled the authorities right under their noses. Soon, he has all the passwords and credentials.
Fooled them how? What? How does it? How did he fool them?
Voicemails.
What do you
Kevin is
like?
on the
What?
run for 2 years. He loses 100 pounds. When he learns that how a criminal walks is the #1 way they're recognized, he puts pebbles in his shoes to change his stride. He uses over a dozen different names. His favorite is Eric Wise. He begins a crime spree that infiltrates the world's biggest companies, Nokia. The companies say the damage from the hacks totals. Kevin sips his coffee as he reads the paper, and suddenly, a a chill passes down.
What is he hacking though? Like what is he doing to those companies?
Positions outside the house in California. They see their targets.
So Kevin gets into Nokia, then what?
Burst in and draw their weapons, and the man denies that he's Kevin Mitnick. He's a Middle Eastern immigrant. Doesn't even own a computer.
Steals money.
More
How?
than 2,000 kilometers away.
So he gets into Nokia's what?
His paper to the ground.
Intern's laptop and he's stealing money?
On the front page of the New York Times. Kevin is adamant the stories in the articles are lies. He never hacked into NORAD or wiretapped the NSA. But if you believe Kevin, then you shouldn't trust anything you've heard so far about Kevin. He takes on mythical status overnight. The little-known prankster is now public enemy #1 of cyberspace. Kevin walks the streets of Seattle in a daze. Many of the passing faces on the sidewalk seem to be staring straight back at him. He hears the faint sound of a helicopter in the sky, feels his heart beginning to thump. No one seems to notice the helicopter, but they do notice Kevin. He hurries into the courtyard of an apartment complex and uses the tall trees as cover, peering through the leaves. Kevin tosses.
So do I believe this now?
And bursts into a full-on
I was just told not to believe Kevin.
He gets away.
It's so much style, like it's so high effort, but it cannot deliver an actual cohesive narrative.
He's finalizing plans to leave for
This is 2 in a row, 3 I think.
And suddenly,
like I love the style of these videos, but my fucking god, it can't tell a story.
Your security technique will be defeated. Your technique is no good.
To someone like him, the attack and subsequent taunts are an act of war. A man steps out onto his balcony in Raleigh, North Carolina.
These aren't just stock images and shit, they have their own little custom animations they play. It's very high effort shit.
The FBI agents take their positions.
But none of it actually helps with the story. It's just
target sitting inside.
Random sentences that don't even fucking connect to each other.
The agents burst in and draw their weapons, but find nothing. The man furiously denies that he's Kevin Mitnick. He's so convincing, the FBI agents are about to leave. But then, an agent notices an old ski jacket in the cupboard. He empties the pockets, and out falls a pay stub. Legacy Media pitches up their circus tents outside.
Most wanted computer hacker is behind bars.
Kevin shares one large holding cell with 60 other inmates. He doesn't eat for 2 days because the food isn't kosher. Inside,
and then Coob face
on the defendant.
Cool picture.
Kevin is charged with 14 counts of wire fraud, 8 counts of possession of unauthorized access devices, interception of wire or electronic communications, and causing damage to a computer. When Kevin is led away from the court, Tsutomu calls out from the front row. Kevin looks back at his nemesis, the one man who finally saw through the lies and deceptions to find him.
Who?
He nods, says nothing, and walks away. His appeals for bail are churned down by every single court in the U.S., including the Supreme. He has one last idea. But then, a group of officers storm into the cell and throw him into solitary confinement.
You skipped half. I didn't skip shit. I skipped an ad. I skipped his ad break and merch plug. I didn't skip shit. What are you talking about? I didn't miss anything. What a weird excuse. It's just a really fucking poorly constructed narrative. I don't get what's so confusing. I understand. Who's his nemesis? They just mentioned his nemesis like he was a huge part of the story, and that was the literal first time we heard of him. I'm assuming it's the guy who was spearheading the operation to find him. But that's just an assumption. So who is his nemesis then? Pop quiz. And why is he all of a sudden a central character to make a little animation about him? His name is Joe Clearly. His name is Satoyu. I think. I don't know. That's what I fucking thought.
The hack on Yahoo.
So you're not following it like you claimed.
By members of the Free Kevin movement. There was no logic bomb. After 4 years of prison and solitary confinement, Kevin pleads guilty to 4 counts of wire fraud, 2 counts of computer fraud, and 1 count of illegally intercepting wire communication.
I didn't think of the consequences when I was engaging in this behavior. I just did it. I'd copy the code, store it on a computer, and go right on to the next without even reading the code.
Interesting.
You know, and that's a complete different motivation of somebody who's really out for financial gain or a foreign country or a competitor trying to obtain, information like economic espionage, for instance.
You know, I hate to suggest a waste of your talent, but as I listen to you, I think you'd make a great lawyer.
Well, I don't know if you're convicted of a felony if they'd allow you to be admitted to the bar.
Kevin Mitnick
Hey, there's
is
some Metal
released
Gear.
from prison after nearly 5 years. When Kevin was on his crime spree, his hacking exploits seemed like mythology to the outside world. But by the time the sun hits his face, the world needs his skills. So, soon after his release, he testifies before the Senate and advises on how to better protect computer systems from attacks.
Alright, Kevin was freed. And then it all ties into Coobface.
So I really like Sleep, and the thing that I do like about Sleep is that it's an alternate reality. Nothing is impossible in Sleep.
So where did Coobface play into anything with Kevin's story? Or at all in this entire narrative? Where does that fit? It's just 2 separate stories. There's a Kevin story and there's a Coobface story, and none of them really connect to each other other than Coobface with the free Kevin meme. Like, I hate that. Like, if you're gonna make a video, like, this should be 2 separate things instead of convoluting and watering down this whole thing. They did that in the last one too. It makes it fucking impossible to follow the narrative, and it just seems all disjointed and everywhere. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no fucking sense. It's such a shame. I really love the style of the channel. But they absolutely cannot fucking tell any story at all. It just gets so pretentious and wrapped up in itself.